Well, welcome everybody to the Southwest Florida TechNet. It is September 17th, and the topic for today is Raspberry Pis and putting a ham radio image onto your Raspberry Pi. We're going to be going through everything that it takes to get it set up from start to finish, and it should be pretty good. We have a little slideshow presentation set, and then we also have some live demonstration, which I'm going to do. This net is sponsored by the Southwest Florida Tech Team. You can join our newsletter or join the actual club if you go to our website, which is southwestfloridatech.net. We have all our information on there. But thank you everybody who is here. We've had some emails sent out, and we should have a pretty big reach today. I can already tell we're getting a lot of people in here, so this should be a pretty good one. And if anyone has any questions during any of this, just go ahead and pipe up and start talking and ask the question, and I will do my best to answer. If y'all need me to slow down or anything too, go ahead and say something. We don't mute the people in here at any point, so if you want to talk, you're free to go ahead and do that. So yeah, this one should be pretty good, and it's a pretty fun project we're going to do. And then so we're going to do the presentation bit with the live demonstration. And then after that, we're going to go through the news. Ian will be here for that. But we have digital nets we're going to talk about, all the different nets going on here in Southwest Florida, the ones that you can check into and test your equipment and everything. And then we're also going to cover ham radio news. So we're going to talk about things going on in the world of amateur radio. And then we're going to talk about the tropics, and we're going to discuss the different storms that are going on, and talk about where these will go, and just look at some of the models and things like that. And then we'll talk about contests and a couple other things that relate to the club. And after that, it will just be rag chew. You can hang around for as long as you want and talk, or you can go out at that time. It doesn't really matter. So with that out of the way, I guess I will get started here with the screen share. I have this set up so that I can share this window. And if I go to present, this should bring us, I just realized I have made my first mistake. I started at the 5th slide. There we go. Okay. Can y'all see a full screen picture here?
Yes. Are you wanting to hit the record button anywhere along the line?
It's already going. We're live on YouTube and it is being recorded. So I believe that is already going. It was started earlier. All right. So yeah, we're going to be talking about, oh, I said it again. I said, so yeah. All right. We're going to be talking about this, and the Raspberry Pis are a really cool little piece of equipment. Some of you probably already know what these are and already have them, but if you don't, that's no big deal, because we're actually going to be talking about everything all the way from start to finish. So yeah, we're going to also, I already went through this. We have news, space weather, tropical weather, and the contests. And we also have website of the week. That's going to be coming up later. And that one was one of my personal favorites this week. So I'll talk about that a little bit. But this is Ian's thing. He likes to say, I think, therefore I am. I guess he I don't really know how to talk about this. Ian does it pretty good. Make of this whatever you will. All right. The HamPi software for the Raspberry Pi was actually put together by a fellow ham who wanted to have all the software compiled into one easy to install image. And it makes it really awesome and really easy to set this all up, because a lot of ham programs actually run on Linux, but putting them together for yourself can require some skill. And even I can't get it working most of the time. But he's actually done us all a great favor here and put it together in one little Raspberry Pi image. Some of the stuff that's on here y'all might recognize, but we've got a HamLib, which is a rig control. So if you've got a radio that supports rig control, this will actually interface with it and change the frequency, and sometimes even get the audio out of the radio. We have Chirp, which is, I'm sure you all know, is what you use to program a lot of ham radios. You actually plug it in with a cable and you can download the frequency list and then edit it and upload the frequency list. So that's really good to have on there. We have APRS messaging for JS8 call, which is really, really cool. That way you can actually send data over JS8 call. Qtel, which is another really cool one. That's an Echolink client. Windows has an Echolink client, and you can connect to repeaters and use your headset microphone to talk into them, which is pretty cool. But Qtel is like a little version of that runs on the Raspberry Pi. It's also got QSSTV, which is sort of like MMSSTV, and it actually does slow scan TV, which is also known as fax, which is something I didn't know until just now. It's got Gpredict, which is how you the software will actually calculate the position of the satellite, and it'll let you know when it's passing overhead. And that's really cool. I think it also can handle stuff like Doppler shift compensation in certain pieces of software, which is good if you're downloading pictures or something from the satellite as it goes over. We've got FreeDV, which I'm not 100% sure, but I believe what it does is it actually interfaces with, whatever radio you have connected to the Pi, and will do digital stuff like DMR or Yaesu Fusion or D-Star, stuff like that. Bluedv.
FreeDV is a voice mode.
It's a voice mode.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
And for use over HF.
Oh, I wonder how it works on here. Then I have never messed with FreeDV before.
I haven't either, but that's what it is.
All right. Well, that's really cool to have on there. Then that's really awesome. We also have Bluedv, which is a client for D-Star and DMR. I'm not sure how that would work. I know how the DMR client would work. It's similar to the Echolink client. I don't know about D-Star, but if any of you know what that is, that's on there. We've also got, I don't even know how to say that, WhisperyPi, Whisper software that will let you do your, I think that, what is that, like low signal to noise ratio or high signal to noise ratio?
Weak signal mode.
Weak signal mode.
Yeah, usually they'll transmit, you build a whisper system and you'll transmit, a fraction of a watt, and look on the web to find where you're heard, but it's not a two-way mode.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's like extreme QRP.
Yep.
That's another cool thing. Bunch of this stuff I don't know. I've never messed with. A lot of it I have, but some of this I'm not sure what it does. But one thing I do know is ADSB flight tracking software. We actually did the last one of the couple last tech nets we did was on ADSB flight tracking, and to have it built in is really cool because you could just plug the RTL-SDR receiver straight into it and just have it work out of the box, which is really cool. I might mess with that later. We've got a stats monitor, which will tell you like your CPU usage, temperatures, how much load is on the Raspberry Pi. That's good to have, especially if you're trying to multitask stuff. It'll start bogging down, and if you're trying to do digital modes like FT8, you'll be like, why am I not hearing anybody? Well, it's because the Pi can't actually handle it. If you're trying to multitask with certain things. It says it has GPS support. I'm not sure how that would work. I guess you could plug in a GPS, USB GPS receiver into the actual device and use that somehow. It also has WSJTX installed on it, and I believe it has grid tracker as well. So it's got quite the little collection that will be very useful for all the stuff that we do with ham radio. I've already pretty much talked about this. It takes away much of the worry of getting into Pi computer with ham gear. And that is certainly true because compiling all this stuff on Windows, a lot of this works out of the box. On Linux, some of it works out of the box. And on the Raspberry Pi, it really does take a lot of skill to actually diagnose and fix these things when they don't work as they say they're going to work because of just different conflicts that happen. So, yeah, big thanks to the guy who made this for doing all that and having it work. What do you need to make this work? So you need a Raspberry Pi 3 or 4. I don't know if it works on the 2 or not, but I think a lot of the programs would probably not do well on a 2 just because the 2 is not as powerful as the 3 or 4. 4 is going to be the most powerful one. 3 is what a lot of people use. That's what I have is a 3B plus, and it should be able to handle everything in there relatively pretty good. Certain things such as like running SDR software will bog down a little bit just because the large amount of processing that has to be done doesn't do really well on the Raspberry Pi. I'm not sure what this means when it says free software. Make sure to send in the QSL card. I don't know what that means. Maybe Ian can tell me about that later. They recommend a 32 gigabyte micro SD card. And this is just so there's room for everything. Also, the actual file that you flash onto the SD card is probably taken from a 32 gigabyte card. I actually flashed it earlier today onto a 16 gigabyte card and it appeared to work okay. But I also have a 32 gig card here in case it doesn't. You'll need an HDMI monitor. So the Pi actually has a little jack on the side for HDMI. Not in the picture here, you can see this is a Pi 4 and it's got 2 mini HDMI ports on it. But if your monitor doesn't support that, you'll have to get an adapter. There are ways to do it without ever connecting a monitor to it, but that's a little bit more complicated. I might show how to do that later. But for now, we're just going to stick to actually plugging it into a monitor. You will need a USB keyboard and mouse for this because it's just like any computer. You're going to need to click on stuff and navigate. And the other very important thing is a high output power supply. The Raspberry Pi on it has a micro USB port, and a lot of cell phones and little battery powered devices will have that same port on it. So most people have a little, a wall cube with the charger on it that will put out power to that type of plug, and it will turn on the Raspberry Pi, but most of them are about 0.5 amp, maybe 1 amp for their output, and that's not enough to reliably run the Pi. It will boot up, it will work, but as soon as you try and do anything that requires a lot of CPU, it will start to bog down, and it will give you a warning that your voltage is low. So you can actually get Raspberry Pi power supplies that output at about 3 amps. The minimum that it wants is 2.5 amps. So if you already have a charger that is 2.5 amps, you could just use that and it'll work fine. But keep that in mind if you're setting this up to use as an actual computer, because it will require a bit more juice than most than most chargers will supply. And now we're going to transition to the actual live demonstration. I have a bunch of stuff set up here. I have all the things I'm going to need to actually show you guys how to do this. So give me 1 second here. I'm going to start switching some things around, and I'm going to bring up the website where you actually download the image from. It's actually stored on SourceForge. A lot of stuff is stored on GitHub or some other website, but this one's got it on SourceForge, which is actually pretty cool. It's easy to download, and everything works pretty good. And I'm going to show you guys here how to actually put this on an SD card. So let me switch here. Okay, so you're going to want to navigate to sourceforge.net/projects/HamPi. It's pretty easy to get here. You can also just Google HamPi and navigate here. The file you will want once you get to this page is down here where it says project activity, and it says release right here, and it says HamPi version 1.4a.img.xyz or .xz. That's the file you want. So you click that, it'll bring you to this little menu here. I guess that's not going to show up, but it's bringing up a little dialog box for me to save the file. That's pretty standard. So once you have the file saved on your machine, there's a couple ways to do this. Windows by default will not, as far as I know, give you a tool to flash a IMG file. An IMG file is just an image file. It's basically a copy of an SD card that has been stored as a file on the hard drive of your computer. So here you can see in my downloads folder, I have the HamPi img.zip thing, and that's what you're going to end up with both on Windows and Linux. There's no difference. But what you actually do, and I'm going to share my desktop here so y'all can see this. If you double click this, at least on Linux, it brings up this little restore disk image dialog box. And what you'll do is you'll just click destination and you'll choose 16 gigabyte drive, SanDisk, the SD card. Depending on the size of your actual card, it'll be different. Mine is 16 gigabytes. Now, the actual process to write this to the drive is it took me about 15 minutes. So I'm not going to demonstrate that here because that's just too much time. I've already got it saved. And now we're pretty much ready to progress to the next step. But first, I'm going to say, if you are on Windows and you want to flash this file, you can use a program called Balana Etcher, or you can use a program called Win32 Disk Imager. And if either of those two options don't work or you need more help, you can also just Google how to put an IMG file on an SD card. It's usually very easy. Balana Etcher is my choice for flashing ISO files and disk image files onto a drive, and it usually works pretty flawlessly. So now I will transition over to my live demonstration. Let me eject the SD card here from the little reader. Turn my light on. And then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say external camera. Okay.
Joseph, can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay, I am here. I don't suppose I could ask a favor.
Sure.
Could you just show him that Balana Etcher real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I just hate skipping steps, and it is fairly simple, but I just want to show him that real quick. Because yeah,
absolutely. I should have done that anyway.
Yeah, just show him the screen and show him the 3 buttons. It's a 3-step process. It's fairly simple, but I want you to see it because it is an integral part of this. Without that and understanding how to make this image on this flash drive, you're not going anywhere. So here we go.
Here we go. So this is the website to actually download the little program. It's just balana.io/etcher. The process is the same on all operating systems. So for me, if I just hit download for Linux, go ahead and save that. It's a pretty small file. It'll download very quickly. The next step, let me switch over my screen sharing here to the other source. Just share the entire desktop. Okay. When you're in here, you will have your Etcher. It's a zip file. Just go ahead and extract that to your downloads folder. On Windows, it's the same exact process. Go ahead and run it. For me, it should pop up. There we go. Okay. So there we have it. I'm going to put the SD card back in here. And I'm going to make this share just the window. There we go. So when you're in here, I have it plugged in, so that should be working. You go to hit flash from file. And inside of there, you'll choose your HamPi img.zip. You can see here it says hampi.img. And you hit select target. I don't know. Okay, my drive isn't showing up in here. That's understandable because I pulled it out. It might show up now. There we go. Okay. So now you can see here, it'll show the name of your SD card. It says SanDisk 16 gigabyte. Hit select, and then you just click the flash button. I'm not going to do this because I don't want to wait another 20 minutes, but you click the flash button and just wait for the little loading bars to go by, and it'll show you a message that says flash complete, successful. That's all there really is to it. You just download this, click choose your image, choose your target device. Don't accidentally choose your hard drive. If it's an SD card, it will usually show up here without you having to push the show hidden button. Because see here, it says system drive, system drive. If you select these and start overwriting them, you're going to be formatting and deleting an actual hard drive on your computer, which would be pretty bad. But it'll warn you about it. So thankfully that's there. But that's all there really is to that. It's a very quick and easy process. And the program is really good. It works great for me. And it works on Windows and Linux and Mac and everything pretty much. So that's how you do that. And was that good, Ian? Hopefully that was good. Any more questions about that?
No, that was perfect. I just didn't want to miss that step. That's all.
All right. Now that we have that set up, I'm going to switch to the external camera here. So you can see here, I have a Raspberry Pi 3. This is a 3B Plus. And I've got it with no card in here. So what you do is you take your little SD card that you got from doing the Balana Etcher thing, and you put it into this little slot here at the back and just slide it in like that. Once it's in there, all you got to do is connect your HDMI cable just like that, and then you connect your power cable when you plug these two in, you will see the red light will come on and the green light will come on. If you plug it
you've already
in,
got your, I didn't mean to interrupt, but you've already got your mouse remote in there. Did you mention that? The mouse keyboard remote?
yeah, I have this little device here, which is just a little miniature keyboard with a mouse on it. And this is just so I can demonstrate. And the little receiver is plugged in with the USB port.
Right. I just wanted to mention that because they may plug in physically a mouse and a keyboard, and that's acceptable too.
Yeah, that works too. One thing to note, if you don't see the green light flashing, that probably means that the card has not been formatted right or it's not been set up. I accidentally cracked an SD card in half one time and I couldn't tell from the outside. And the light was not turning on. The green light was not doing anything. And I was like, what's going on with this thing? So yeah, so once you've got that going and you've plugged it in, now it's time to move over to the actual computer screen so we can see what's going on with this thing. Point over to here. And there it has just powered on. And it's going to start telling me this. Man, I wish this wasn't so blurry. I don't know which will be better, leaving it on the tripod or trying to hold it up.
You'll be able to VNC in here in just a minute.
I will. In a second, I'll VNC in, and then we'll have an actual proper screen.
Perfect.
But when you first power this thing on, it's going to tell you some things for first-time use. My mouse working? Yes. So this says, please note that HamPi is QSLware. QSLware. I've never heard that before. If you use it, please send me
Exactly. All he asks you to do is if you're going to use his software, send him one of your QSL cards or a postcard with your call letters on it. That's it.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to do it. I'm going to get me some QSL cards. I'm actually designing them right now, and I'm going to send him one.
That's pretty cool. He says, once I receive your QSL card, I will email instructions on how to remove this dialog. So I guess it's sort of like the old shareware on the Macintosh, where they'd tell you to email a check with like $5 in it to the guy, and he would email you back. He would physically mail you back a code to put into the software. So that's pretty cool. It's going to give you this warning.
I'm sorry, Joseph. I believe all it is just that checkbox. Everything else works like normal.
Yeah.
He just wants you to send him a card. It's just that checkbox. Once you check it, it's gone, and you won't see it again until you start it back up.
And it doesn't interfere with the software at all.
No, it doesn't interfere. It's just a little thing. And you know, if you're good with this stuff, you could just kind of go in and remove the little box that pops up. It's just probably a little script sitting in the startup folder. But yeah, it'd be fun to send the guy a little QSL card and say thanks for your awesome software. You'll get this little warning that says SSH is enabled. You can pretty much ignore this, although it is a good idea to change the default password later, because believe it or not, there are if you were to port forward this device to the internet, it will constantly be, people will be basically constantly trying to log into it. There's, you know, servers in Russia and stuff that all they do is just try and log into people's Raspberry Pis on their network, and I guess use that gateway to hack into stuff. So it is a good idea to change that, but right now we're not even connected to the internet, so it doesn't matter at all. So this is the same thing you will see when you're installing the normal Raspberry Pi image. So this is basic setup. Go ahead and hit next. It'll ask you what your location is. I'm not in the British Kingdom. I am in United States. Time zone, that would be Eastern. See if we can find Eastern here on this list.
Say New York.
Oh, you're right. Here we go. New York.
New York.
There we go.
New York, you're good.
Click the little box. I mean, it's already using the English language.
English, por favor.
But you can do that, and you can just do US keyboard. Go ahead and hit next. Setting location, please wait. So this is like there's a scratch on the lens of this camera, so there's a bit of a blur on there, but hopefully y'all can still see okay. I'm about to transition to like a proper screen share of this in a second after I show what's going on. So it says setting location. There we go. They want me to change the password for the actual Pi, but I'm not going to do that right now.
But it's a good idea.
It is a good idea to do that, but for the sake of demonstration, I'm not going to do it. Hit next. Now it's going to search for Wi-Fi networks. This is important if you want to connect this to the internet. You don't have to do this, but for a lot of the stuff on here, if you want to use the web browser and do updates and everything, then you got to do that.
You
And
can
it does.
also use Ethernet.
Yes, you can also plug in Ethernet into this thing, and
And if you
then it
need
won't
to,
even ask you.
set it to a static address.
Let me see if I can do this here.
Your webcam has cataracts.
It sure does.
Hey, real quick, I just want to mention while he's doing that, we've both said this guy a couple of times. I just want to mention Dave Slaughter is the guy that created this software, and he's just done an amazing job here. This is the 1.4 version that we're using tonight. It's the 1.4 version, and I got to tell you something. The 1.5 is just about to come out. This is some amazing stuff. When I put this in and started using it, I was absolutely amazed at how quick and easy everything just came up. Everything works. Now, there's a few things, sound card this, getting your radio to interface that. There's always those complications, but for the most part, this works very well. His call sign is W3DJS, Whiskey 3 Delta Juliet Sierra. He is... he's a great guy. I've been in communication with him this last week. He was going to come on tonight and be a part of this with us. Had an emergency come up. He's going to postpone for a couple weeks. We're going to get him on. I'll let you know the exact date, okay? As soon as we can get a firm date, we'll let you guys know. But he is going to be coming on to talk to us directly about what he's created and the new version 1.5 that's just about to come out. And he's also got SDR++ now that's available to be added to it, and it's also going to be in the new version 1.5. Can you guys hear the FT8 in the background? I guess I got to mute that.
I don't hear it.
Hear it.
Yeah, just a quick note.
You sound fine.
Yeah, just a quick note. 15 meters is running long right now. I don't know if it's actually working. Let me see if I can get Trinidad.
Mine was pretty good this afternoon. I was on the SSTs and all my stations were out west.
My noise floor on 20 is horrible. So
Really?
can you guys hear that? Is that going to be annoying?
Yeah, I can hear that.
Okay,
I
let's
hear
not do it.
now, just slightly.
Yeah, let's not do that. It'll quit. All right. I shouldn't be doing that while we're doing a show, but I saw Trinidad pop up. Okay, anyway. But 15 is running right now. If you guys have your radio on, it's actually running long for this time of night.
Yes, Spain popped up on 20 a while ago.
Right. But anyway, I just wanted to mention we've both used the term "that guy," and I just wanted to mention Dave Slaughter's the guy that created this software. He's a great guy, and he's going to be coming on the net in a few weeks. So just bear with us for that. And this is probably better because this gives you a chance to watch the demonstration tonight, see all the things that Joseph shows you that it has to offer. And then in 2 or 3 weeks, when we can get him on, you'll have all your questions because you will have bought yours, got it going, and now you not need to figure it out. So I think this is actually going to work out maybe better. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being
Yeah, I think it will.
So anyway, let's go back to Joseph.
I had mine on tonight.
You ready, Joseph?
Yeah.
Okay. Back to you,
Yeah.
Joseph. As we say in the
Thank you,
biz.
Ian. Thank you, Ian. Right now it's doing its update process, but we can actually continue while this updates. It's a good idea to do this. It'll just update all the packages in there, and then when you next time you restart, it'll be up to date.
Can I just mention it's not a forced update?
No, you can skip. There's this lovely little skip button right here. There's an actual skip button that you can
Not
push.
Microsoft Windows.
100% optional. I just like to do it because it takes care of some problems you may have. Okay, so while that's doing this, what we can do, we can set up the remote desktop stuff. It's actually built into the Raspberry Pi, and it's actually probably already enabled by default. I'm pretty sure he set it to be enabled by default. On a normal image, you actually have to go in and turn it on, but I'll show you how to do that here real quick. So you just click up here at the top. There's this little drop-down menu. You go down to where it says Preferences. And then you go to where it says Raspberry Pi Configuration. Oh, can y'all see that? Preferences, Raspberry Pi Configuration. Go in here. It might be a bit slow because doing updates. Okay, here we go. This is a little menu. So then you go to where it says interfaces. And yes, you find the entry that says VNC. That's already enabled. So, and SSH is already enabled too. So this is a really cool thing. It's disabled by default on the normal Raspberry Pi operating system. But he's enabled it by default, which basically means you can set this thing up without ever having to plug a monitor into it, because it's already running the remote desktop software from the start, right from the very beginning. So while that's downloading updates, I'll actually show you guys on the computer how to get the remote desktop program to start doing this.
This is
So
probably where I went wrong. I was trying to do this today, and I had two, an Ubuntu and a Mint box, neither of which could make any sense of it. So maybe you can enlighten me here.
all right, well, we'll try. Okay. The place you want to go is realvnc.com. If you just Google Vnc Viewer, this is the first website that pops up, and this is the one that you want. It's basically just a remote desktop program similar to TeamViewer or AnyDesk, but you choose your OS here. It's got support for like everything. So I'm on Linux. I'm going to go ahead and click this. Can y'all see that? I guess y'all can't see that pop up, but it doesn't matter.
That's just fine. Yeah, go ahead.
Great. Okay. So there, I've saved it. And now we will actually run the thing. Let me share screen here, do the whole desktop. Okay. So in our downloads folder, again, we have this here, VNC. This will just be like a .exe on Windows, but should be able to just double click it. What is this? Oh, I actually have to do /VNC. Is it not going to work? Oh, come on. I don't know why that's not working. Come on, don't do this to me. Maybe that was the problem. There we go. Okay, I just had to right click it, go to properties, go to permissions, and click the checkbox that says allow executing file as program. That's all I had to do. It'll ask you to accept terms and conditions. Basically, it's like, can we invade your privacy and everything? Yes. Okay, now it's just go ahead and turn that off. Just a little startup screen. Okay, now what you have to do is find the IP address of your Raspberry Pi. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate this live because it would reveal the IPs of everything on my network, but I already know the IP for this Pi just from memory. So what you do is you just type in Pi, P-I, and then you do @ and then you just type in the IP address, which is 10.0.0. I believe it's 74. Hold on 1 second. I'm trying to think. I believe it's 74 for me, but
that might be where I was wrong.
It's 128. That's what it is. And the way you find this is you can either use an app on your phone that's actually called Net Analyzer. You can get this app on your phone, and then there's a button in there that scans for devices on your network, and it'll actually show up on the network as HamPi. The other way to do it is to log into your router's control panel, and most routers have a list of all of the currently connected devices, and then you'll just see HamPi in there, and it'll tell you the IP address.
You can also go into the command prompt on your Raspberry Pi and enter IP space ADDR, and it'll show you the IP addresses.
Oh, wow.
All of the interfaces.
That's really cool. That's very cool. Okay. So yeah, it should be Pi @ and then the IP address.
Do you need a port number, or you just put it in like that?
I thought it was like that. I may have done something wrong. Pi @
IP address.
That's what I thought it was. It just says unknown connection string.
Pi 5090, I believe it is the port number. :5090.
I think. No, it says unknown connection string. I think I've done something wrong with the actual way I've typed it in.
I've been having this problem too, so I'm not sure what's happening.
Oh, okay. You just put in the IP address. You don't do the Pi @ thing.
Okay.
You just literally type the IP address. It says server not recognized. This is the first time connecting, so it's not recognized. You go ahead and click continue, and then it will ask for the authentication. Now, the HamPi, by default, the username would be Pi and the password would be the word raspberry. But I believe on HamPi, it's actually been changed to something else. I believe the username is just HamPi. But I don't know what the password was. Do you remember what the password was, Ian? Because I can't remember the password for
I'm
this.
working on it right now.
I can maybe check.
My problem is, but I didn't get this wrong.
I really don't know what it's supposed to be. It might have said so, what it was on his website.
Change name, change me.
Oh, the password. Okay. Change me.
Yep, no space.
All right, there. So let's try that. Either the username was not recognized or the password is incorrect. Okay, what did I do the HamPi thing right?
It's pi. It's just pi.
Ah, it's just Pi. Okay. Pi, and the password is change me. Let's go ahead and try that. Still incorrect. We had this problem the other day.
You sure it isn't raspberry and then change me instead of Pi? RASPBERRY.
Oh, you mean the password being raspberry?
Yeah.
Well, that's what it would be by default on a normal installation
On
of
a normal installation. That's how
that.
it works.
That would be the default right there for a normal installation.
Try pi password raspberry.
Oh, that that worked.
Okay.
I thought it was changed. I was wrong.
It works.
All righty. So it's still doing updates, but as you can see, we're remoted in. It's basically just like being a remote desktop on any other computer. You can bring up all your stuff here. It's a little bit slow.
Can I make a few quick notes here?
Yeah.
Because I'm a Windows freak, not because I like it, but because that's what I've always used. I was a Windows 1, Windows 2, Windows 3.1.1 for work groups. You know, I mean, I've been through the whole process. One of the first things I did and one of the first things I noticed is you can move the top bar down to the bottom, and the damn thing looks just like Windows. Anyway, go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
Is that in appearance settings?
Yeah, that's
Menu
all
bar.
I had. Yeah,
Bottom.
that's all I wanted to say. Oh, hey, look, it's Windows.
There's our start menu.
Yay!
Wow, look at that.
Yes, isn't that cool? The clock's in the right place and everything.
That is very cool.
Yeah, put it back. It looked better like looking like a Mac.
We'll just have to disagree.
You like the Mac setting, huh?
If I always tell people, say, why do you hate Macs? I said, I don't hate Macs. I don't make enough money to have a Mac. But if I was rich, if I had unlimited funds, I would definitely have me some Mac equipment because it's some good.
I have a Mac Mini, but it runs Linux now.
I have it in good authority that Mac is some of the best computing equipment you can buy. But it's just so proprietary and so hard to do anything out of the box with.
I disagree on all points. I think it's overpriced and the software is terrible, and it's basically the China, Korea. It's basically the communist China of computers.
Yeah, Joseph, I was talking. The hardware is actually really good.
The hardware is okay.
The software, I'll argue with somebody on the software because a lot of it's garbage. And a lot of it's good. It's like anything else, you know. There's a lot of different people writing it.
Well, it's based on FreeBSD and not on Linux. That's the difference. And that's very good software. The problem is Apple has goobered it up to the point where it is proprietary. That's where your problem is.
Yeah.
Yep.
They made it like Windows, but worse.
How is that possible?
I don't know. You can wreck a car twice.
Yeah, I guess. Or just set it on fire.
Sorry, Joseph. Go ahead.
No, you guys are fine. So that's the installation process, but we also have the goodies that this comes with, and it comes with a lot.
Piles and piles.
We've got programs for antenna analyzing, APRS. It's got calculators. It's got a Smith chart calculator, and I believe this is an antenna calculator. This is for D-star operation. I'm not sure why it's called D-rats.
Sounds like
FL Digi.
a political party.
It's got all the FL Digi stuff, all of them, like everything's here. My favorite is FLA. The names for these pieces of software is kind of funny.
Yeah, FLA, flu, and flow, and FLA.
Flamp,
And
Flark,
Flamp.
Flog, and then you got FL Digi, which is just the normal one.
A couple of them just sound dirty.
PW decoder.
We have a logging. We've got, I'm not sure what CQ log is. We might actually, we could probably go through and open some of these up if we want and look at some of them. Morse code decoder. Let's see what this is about. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to open. What is this? Are we converting like a text file into audio?
Now, and you know, anytime you pull one of these up, you can always find either a tutorial video or a walkthrough, text walkthrough on how to do it. That's what I have to do on a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of, there's guides out there for everything, especially this kind of thing. I guess what this does, it looks to me like you take a text file and it converts it into an MP3 file of Morse code. So that's interesting. Let's see what else we got.
Well,
and it's got this lovely little, yeah, go ahead.
Cast your mind back to the dim and distant past. What was the thing to buy the code to find the IP address?
Oh, you go in the terminal and just type
IP space ADDR.
IP space.
Or IP config.
Yeah,
That's on Windows. Does that work on Linux?
Windows.
Yeah.
Nah, that'd be on Windows.
Okay, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good. This is what we want. We want questions.
This is Derek. Is it possible to get a one-sheet handout on some of these steps you just mentioned?
Like a paper guide kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can make one later. I don't have one made right now. There's also a website where what is it? He has a website which has every step in order, and I'll show that here.
You could probably look up W3DJS and get all kinds of information.
Yeah, I can make one too if those are not adequate. So there's our Morse code stuff. We actually have a couple other Morse code programs though. GLFER, XCWCP, XDE Morse. A lot of cool stuff in here.
I installed this a week ago, and I still haven't opened half the things yet.
Oh, I installed mine several weeks ago, and I still haven't opened everything up either. It takes a while to. There's a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
there is so much stuff in here.
Well, I did plug my SDR Sharp into it, and once we it was like boom, it went right on. I was like, wow.
I can do that right now. Show how
now,
easy that is.
If you have one of these, you can take one of these and put it in a box and put the SDR Sharp with it and stick it like over at your mother-in-law's house in the closet with an antenna, and stream audio back to your house and work FT8 on it. I mean, there's so many cool things you can do with this. It's almost crazy.
Sure your mother doesn't think you're a Chinese spy.
Well, so I think she would know if I was Chinese. Let's do that. Let's boot up the software-defined radio tools. I love how everything is in its own little menu. It's got some little sub menus and everything. Cubic SDR is the best option that's on here. But the he's gonna show us how to put SDR++ on here, which is a lot like SDR Sharp, and we actually talked about that a few days ago on the SDR presentation I did.
And it's two pluses, so it's got to be really good.
Oh yeah, it's like plus plus. I'm gonna plug in my receiver into one of the USB ports on the Pi right now.
I think SDR++ supports the SDR play, which is I've got one of those. It's a small box. It's bigger than the ones you've been. It's an SDR, but in fact, I want to try that with the weather sats and all that. See how it does. It may not get so hot. You may get away from your air conditioning problem that you're having with the other dongles.
Maybe so. Okay.
I'll tell you guys later what I'm doing to fix my heat problems with all my dongles. That kind of sounded dirty, but let's go on.
I'm
using my-
dongle, you know.
Well, I got to cool my tool down here. All right, go ahead.
I'm using my SDR right now to open and close my neighbor's garage door.
Oh, that's cool.
Joseph taught us how to do that the other night.
Oh no, what have I done?
Joseph, quit getting people in trouble.
What have I done? Didn't hear it from me.
Just kidding.
Got to remember the Chinese are listening to us too. You know, they'll figure out.
Uh-oh.
this out.
Well, we're listening to them too, so.
There you go.
Yeah. How they like that?
Yeah, that's close a few Chinese garage doors. That's what we need.
All right.
If those door openers operated on HF bands, you could do that. You could turn open and close a whole country's worth of garage doors.
Misoperate your ham radio, cause a nuclear war. You know.
Yeah. Just open up each frequency and then just with a little delay between them, just run down all the codes.
Yeah. And this is just a shot across the bow.
Why stop at garage doors? Let's go on. Let's go on.
Moving on.
Quickly.
I've put my receiver here, my little RTL SDR. I plugged it into one of the ports on the Raspberry Pi, and normally you would have to actually install the driver for this thing. But since this is an awesome piece of little kit here, it works out of the box. And you can see here I booted up Cubic SDR, and my little RTL is showing up here. One thing to note is that you do, especially while you're logged in with the Vnc Viewer, you do need to bump the bandwidth down. If you put it up at like the max 3.2 megahertz, it will be very choppy, and the audio coming out will be choppy, and it'll bog down, and it won't work right. So you kind of have to set it to about 1 megahertz. It actually works a little better when you're not logged in with the remote thing, and you can turn it up to a bit. But if you're on a Raspberry Pi 4, those have a lot more power. So on the 3, it bogs down. On the 4, you're actually able to run full sample rate with no bogging down. That's what I did when I set up the little project down in Alabama. It's on a Pi 4, and I can run it full scale, and it doesn't even care. So we'll put on the 1 megahertz, and all your settings are still here, like your direct sampling and bias T and all that is built in. So we go ahead and hit start, and there we go. It's actually working. There's our waterfall. That's actually an FM radio station.
101.1, whatever that is.
Yeah, I can't. There's actually no antenna plugged into this receiver right now.
Well,
Like-
it must be the one by your house then.
You must have
I
the
didn't-
transmitter must be really close.
I didn't even know I had one by my house.
Now see if you can read the RDS off of it.
I don't think this has RDS built in, but it does. I think Gqrx does RDS. We can try that. But here we go. Don't think y'all will be able to hear the sound because the sound doesn't carry over. Whoa. There we go. Yeah, you can't hear the sound, but if you plug in a pair of speakers into the little headphone jack on the Pi, that's where the sound will come out. You can actually go down here to the little speaker icon and change the volume.
That's a heck of a note. We have the fanciest FM radio you can imagine, and you can't even hear it.
Yeah.
You don't
This
need
is
to hear
way
it, you can see
overkill.
it.
This is way overkill. Wait a minute. I have a pair of earphones here. It'll probably work. I want to try Gqrx too, because that can do the RDS decoding, the actual text that it sends out, and we can figure out what song it's currently playing. This working? I don't know if that's working or not, but yeah.
Yeah, and something's cool when you plug a TV into your HDMI or a monitor that has speaker support, that becomes an audio selection on the Pi. I've been able to switch my audio back and forth between the TV that I plug in as the monitor and the little audio jack on the side. So it actually has 2 sound cards ready to go on it.
It's working already. I can hear it. Can y'all hear this?
Now, I don't know if it has any inputs at all, but it's got 2 outputs.
I don't believe it has inputs.
Because I don't think that's a deep plug on there. I don't think it has a microphone deep,
No.
the third plug on there, whatever they call that.
It does not. It's just a 3-pole. But you can put in a USB sound card and it will it'll work with that. This is actually working right now. I plugged in a little earphone into this. And if I hold this up to my microphone, there's sound coming out of it. So it does work.
Any more than that, we'll go in YouTube jail.
I know. Why I didn't do it for long. But yeah, this is the most fancy FM receiver ever. And it actually is running on here pretty good. It looks choppy on here, but the sound is smooth. And if I log out of this program, it'll become smooth. So yeah,
I'm sorry. 2 things. I'm sorry, I interrupt you again. 2 things on this real quick. One, it is a little jumpy, but you have to remember he's VNC'd into it right now. So it's running a remote station into it right now, controlling it. Plus it's running the SDR Sharp, which is a challenge for any computer. Number 2, you have to remember this is a 4 or a 3?
It's a 3.
This is a 3, guys. It's a $50 board. I mean, we're not talking about a $400 Windows machine here. So I think honestly, and Joseph, you may be able to speak to this, or maybe Rick or somebody that's more into the pies, that's into it more further than I am. But these things are coming out pretty quick. And I think it's not going to be long before these little boards are rivaling that of a $600 or $800 Windows machine.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yeah.
People have already got,
and it'll still be $100, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
people have actually already got Android running on a Pi 4.
Oh my goodness.
They got Android running, and it's like you put that touchscreen I have on there, and it's basically like a tablet. Like a little tablet phone for a total of about $80.
Yeah.
So yeah, these things are great.
Well, it is still raining like crazy over here.
Oh, we had over almost 3 inches here.
Yeah, there was a flood watch issued for Central Fort Myers earlier.
Oh wow, really?
Oh yeah, I had my front yard and backyard are lakes.
It was one of those storms that formed, and this is a tangent. I'm sorry, guys. We'll go right back. But this was a cell that formed right over downtown Fort Myers, and it just sat there. And it sat there, and it sat there, and it sat there. And it's like up in this area, they didn't get a lot of rain up in North Fort Myers, but now we're getting it now. But so it was one of those things. If you were under it earlier, you had 3-4 inches of rain. People were driving through water on Fowler Street and the whole bit.
2.7 something inches here.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was one of those things. I'm sorry, Joseph. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
Sorry.
So, Joseph, I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Oh, power consumption. You're talking about the 3B at 3 amps at 5 volts. Do you know what the power consumption jumps up to with the 4? I understand they have a cooling fan as well.
None of the Pis have a cooling fan built in. I believe it's the same for both of them. I think it's 3 amps. And neither of them have a fan built in. You can get ready-made, pre-made cases for them that have a fan in them. But by default, I don't think they actually have a different a fan, and they don't have a. They both use 3.5 amps.
Okay.
The Raspberry Pi 3 was 2.5. I think really.
I had a problem getting mine going, guys, because I put it on a regular USB like phone charger, and the lights blinked and it kept restarting. It wouldn't do anything. Yeah. So what I did was I went and found one of those tall Samsung chargers that put out 3.6 or whatever, the higher ones. And I found one of those with a really thick cable that's short, plugged it in, and it's been working great ever since. So it takes a little more than your standard cheap phone charger you bought at Circle K.
Yeah. And the 4 has a USB-C connector.
Yeah.
So you have
good.
Yeah. So if you've got like one of the newer Motorola or something like that has a USB-C connector, you can probably use the charger. Now I've got a Motorola, it's got a 3-amp charger. I've got several of them around here, and I can plug that into the Pi and run that. It works fine.
It looks like the power, the actual Pi 4 needs at least 3 amps. The Pi 3 needs 2.5 at minimum.
Yeah. Now that's what I bought, was the Cana kit one.
The great thing is these are only $10. They're really cheap.
Yeah, they're cheap.
Well, and that's the thing. When I get a 4, I'll probably just buy a power supply for it because I don't
Oh
think
yeah,
I
you
have
want to
anything
buy
quite that strong here.
You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, the 3 I had one. I have what I'm doing now with the 3 is working great, but the 4 I'm just gonna buy one.
Yeah, just get your supply with it. Best way to go.
Because you know me, I turn stuff on, I never turn it off. So things in the store hate seeing me coming because they're like, "Oh, if that guy buys this, we'll never get turned off again."
Oh man. But yeah, okay. So to answer the question, to summarize it, the Pi 4 needs at least 3.5 amps versus the Pi 2, which needs 2.5. So if you've got a 5 amp supply, I know they make those. That'll work.
5 volts.
Otherwise, yeah, 5 volts. It's USB, so make sure it's 5 volts. But yeah, it's better to just get one. I've purchased those Cana Kit brand ones, and they're really nice. It's really nice.
That's what I got.
They're great. That's what I have running.
They make the project. Go to Amazon and type Raspberry Pi project kit. You'll be amazed. They even have ones like your kid can buy that have like a bunch of LED light bulbs and breadboards that they can build and everything to go with their Pi. And I was amazed. I was like, wow, I wish I had a kid.
Oh, wow, look at this.
Don't forget Adafruit.
Yeah, that's it right there. That was the one I found. I'm like, I mean, if I had a kid, he'd have this. But
wow,
here, Joseph, you get yourself this.
I should. It's got a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's got pots, it's got digital, it's got everything. It's
got speakers, camera.
Yeah.
May
have the camera. I don't know if it has a camera. I think
right in the middle.
Camera, but that's not a big problem. Also check Adafruit, ADAFRUIT.
Oh yeah, Adafruit.
$50. So $50 plus $50-$60 for a Pi. You could keep a kid out of trouble for 6 months. Oh, I want that graphic.
I wish I could leave the politics out.
I want that graphic.
One of the things that I'll be concerned about is running from 12 volts, 12-volt system down to 5, and how many amps it'll pull.
That's a good point.
I plan on running a Pi on my boat.
I guarantee it will pull less than a 110 machine running through an inverter.
Oh, absolutely. But what do they call those things? It's a little board that you get that'll step your 12 volts down to a 5. I forget what they call those things.
Well, there's plenty of USB converters that you just plug in to a lighter type socket.
Yeah,
with the 12 volts, and it steps it down to the 5. But I'm not 100% sure on how many amps you can pull through them. So that's why I was curious, because that's.
Let me turn that off.
Because that's probably how I will run mine part of the time. A wall wart's easy, but the 12 volts, I just want to.
It's called a buck converter, step down regulator.
Buck converter. Yep. That's what I was trying to think. Yeah,
they're about $11.
Yeah.
I apologize for the Joe Biden moment.
Yeah,
you're allowed. He's not.
Yeah.
Just looking at all these on Adafruit here, the Pis, they're like all out of stock. You can get the Pi. This is really unfortunate because the prices everywhere else, like on Amazon, the price for just a Pi by itself has almost doubled. And in these places where the prices are still at the original, thing that they were before all this madness happened, they're just out of stock. So getting one of these now is actually really unfortunate. I think the best way to do it might actually be to go on Amazon and get a Raspberry Pi kit that'll come with a Pi, as well as a bunch of other stuff. And the prices, I think, haven't been affected that much yet. Oh, wow, that is way
I
more
generally
expensive.
buy the Canna kits, but you know, that's up to, you know, you.
This kit is really cool. It comes with a big card. It's got the adapter.
Now see that little
Port,
adapter
power
thing?
supply.
You stick your SD card in that and plug it into a USB port, and that will and that's how you load it up. Now I've got several other things around here for loading those up, but that's a pretty neat little thing to have.
Yeah, mine was a terrible. I had the worst. I have a bunch of these adapters, but I had to use a little old card reader and then a large SD card down to micro SD card converter.
That works too.
Luckily, it worked. I was worried it wasn't going to work because I've had problems before with that. All right, we need to go back onto this. So
Yeah,
this
'cause
works here.
We haven't even showed you half the things that are in this yet.
Oh my God, take all night to do that.
It will
I
take
know.
Till we'll be here till Christmas.
You may be right. There's a lot on this thing.
I mean, could you imagine buying a Windows computer that had just the stuff you were interested in on it?
No, all you get on that is a bunch of bloatware.
I still can't uninstall the NFL program.
That'd be one of the first things I'd want to get rid of.
Me too. Anyway,
I
let's not get political. Keep going.
I clicked on the G. Oh, there it goes. This is Gqrx, which is another software-defined radio application. It's actually probably going to. Oops, did not mean to do that. It's actually probably a bit lighter. I think I may have put the wrong hardware in here. I probably selected the wrong device. Let's see if this works. There we go. There's our waterfall. See, you can see this is actually a lot smoother. You can see the waterfall is coming down. It might actually lag out more now that I've made it large.
The truth is, if all you're monitoring is one channel, you really don't need a big program where you're watching some huge swath of bandwidth.
Is that kilohertz or megahertz?
This would be kilohertz right here, I believe.
Oh, okay.
I tried to down. Oh, what have I done?
No, I think it's
tried. It is frozen. The program is frozen. The Pi isn't. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I just lowered the resolution a little bit. Now on the screen, on the actual computer screen, I can see that the waterfall is moving smoothly. It's perfectly smooth. It's just choppy on the remote desktop here.
It's the VNC. I think that's 871 megahertz.
Yeah, that's what it was at. If we go back to 101, see if we can pick up that station that was there before. Oh, you know what? I probably have to turn the gain up a little bit because you know this thing defaults to.
You don't forget that. Like you did before.
Yeah, you guys, if you buy one of these SDRs, it's a good time to mention that. I bought one, plugged it in, thought it was a sorry piece of crap, thought I got sold a knockoff. I threw it in a box. It sat for 6 months till I met Joseph, and he told me, no, you got to turn the gain up on that thing or it's worthless. So I went and dug around and found it and sent it home with him so he could check it. And he calls me up and he goes, there's nothing wrong with this thing. It works great. I'm like, bring it back so I can play with it.
Oh, man, yeah. They should really just edit that little value in the software so it always defaults to 30. That way beginners don't think they have a broken machine.
You got a crap board or something.
Yeah, I got a Chinese knockoff. It doesn't work. Well, this works.
I went online and I Googled my SDR Sharp doesn't work very well. And, of course, what came up was not, hey, did you turn your gain up? It was, you probably got a Chinese knockoff.
Yeah. Oh, God.
Anyway.
Oh, man. That doesn't help at all.
100.9. Is this on the FM band?
Yeah. I think that was the station we were on earlier. Oh, I'm in AM.
101.1.
Oh, that's what
I think it was.
Which one it is?
Let's see here. 101.1. I think you're right. It's probably what it was on.
That's WCBS.
There it is. It's there. It's just kind of hard to see on this waterfall. I turned on the little. There's the tools here. I think if I go to View RDS, we should be able to see the text. Oh, you know what that is? That's just the. Oh, here we go. Button that says RDS. Enable RDS. Let's see if it picks it up. We might have to go to a different station here. one with a stronger
I
signal.
don't see a real strong signal there.
I think that's a strong
Try
station.
96.9. That's probably the strongest signal here.
Oh God.
Well, I've got no
Something-
antenna on this thing. Uh-oh, what did I do?
Paperclip in it.
You know that 96.9, that's a heritage station, and it's 100,000 watt FM station. You can't even get a license that big anymore.
I broke it. What did I do? I touched the dongle with my finger.
And you know where that
There
one
it goes.
sits? That one sits
Oh.
up on top of the tower right next to the 685 tower up on
Oh,
31.
yeah, that's the TV tower. It's on.
And it actually, the array for the FM radio sits on top of the array for the TV. It's literally the top mast or the top element. And that 96.9, you can hear it from Alamorada to the Sunshine Skyway. It's it's a blowtorch. Anyway, go ahead, Joseph.
I
So
broke
you gotta be able to
something.
Pick that up. And I imagine they got RDS on it.
Yeah.
They probably do. I touched the device
broke
and I
it.
moved it a little bit.
He broke it.
You got to go to IO, redo the device scan thing. I touched it and I actually unplugged it a little bit and it came out. That should hopefully start it back up and make it work. There we go. I got to turn the gain up a little bit. There is a station there. They all have RDS.
There's a 101 station, 101.1. It's down in Naples, I think.
It
Here's our
is Fort Myers.
101.1. Well, there, but I don't know. The RDS thing is not wanting to pick it up, but
Go to
it does work.
96.9.
96.9.
Yeah.
Try that.
God forbid, don't go to the station, that little crappy station I'm on, because you can't hear it nowhere.
I don't know what's over that. I can't even hear it here in my house. Oh, that's it.
I can't hear it in my house. Look at that.
Can't hear your own station. There we go. That's coming in nice and strong. And if it doesn't show up here, then it's just probably because this is a bit slow. Or the audio coming out might be choppy because I'm logged in still. It doesn't look perfectly smooth on my end. I could turn the bandwidth down. I think
you
that
gotta
would.
remember you're going through VNC, so you're gonna have a little bit of delay and a little bit of other funky stuff going on.
Yeah, this is not ideal. Like it's not ideal settings here for what this hardware is. It's doing great. It's not important that the.
Fantastic. And you're on a 3, you're not on a 4. Right?
I'm on a 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, if you set it to do something and then you don't have a screen plugged into it and you turn the VNC off, all it's going to sit there and do is what you left it doing. So it won't have this problem. He's VNC'd into it. It's why we're having all these problems. And we've got a monitor connected to it.
Yeah, we do.
The CPU is like a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest.
It's busy.
Well, yeah, there's your SDR stuff. That appears to be working quite well. This thing is not working here for some reason.
And by the way, you know all that stupid crap you have to do with Windows when you first buy your dongle? You don't have to do any of it with this. You just plug it in.
Yeah, this is a brand new thing, and I just plugged it right in. It was immediately detected, and it showed up and everything.
Yeah. Plug it in, plug it in. That's all you got to do. You guys have heard the ad. That's all you got to do.
Oh, yeah, that stupid fish. Hilarious.
Oh, now this is cool.
Yeah, I don't think I haven't seen one of those in a long time, but it's a hilarious ad.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. I didn't
Maybe
get that.
maybe that's the bug he was talking about.
I didn't get that. Mine worked.
Yours worked?
You can VNC into mine if you want.
You'd have to port forward for me to do. Oh, I could team viewer. I don't know why that's not working. That's not good. That's weird. Maybe we know it might be because we did updates and haven't rebooted yet. That could be one of the reasons why that's happening. We'll see if Grid Tracker works. Yeah, it comes with Grid Tracker, and he actually set up the shortcut and everything for it, so that it actually shows up and you can click it from the menu, which is great. Look at this.
Okay, Grid Tracker. Okay, that's going to be probably Maidenhead Grid Tracker.
Yep, it says loaded Maidenhead data set. I mean, you could use a Pi for FT8 if you wanted. It seems like it might be a bit slow for that, although Pi 4 would be a lot better. You got to remember that this is all so much faster on a Pi 4.
Oh, yeah.
The difference is pretty substantial. The Pi 3 is good for headless stuff where you're just running, you know, things where it interfaces with the GPIO pins. But for like desktop stuff, a Pi 4 is a whole lot better. Oh, look at that. It loaded. Wow. It is a bit slow, but it works. Actually, not that slow. It's working pretty well. I can't X out of the menu for some reason. Do I need to, oh, there it goes. Okay. Yeah, look at that. It's running on the Raspberry Pi.
I am
And the
still
thing
getting
is-
lightning alerts here. I can't believe this rain just persists.
Oh, it just keeps going still raining here too.
What if we turn on the radar thing on? Doesn't Grid Tracker have like a lightning? Here we go. Oh, the lightning strikes.
That's the lightning alert. You're looking for the thing down below, the radar thing in the middle, bottom row.
That thing there. There we go. Look at that.
Oh,
Right on Grid Tracker. Look at that.
roll that thing on down. Look at Fort Myers. Yeah, you got a good bit of stuff right over us. It's light, but it's enough that you got drizzling rain. And then down below toward Naples, you got some heavier activity.
Lightning strikes don't show
Whoever
up.
sneezed Gesundheit.
Oh, thank you. I switched my mic off.
Seems to be performing pretty well.
I'm amazed. And this is a 3.
Yeah, a 3B+. And it's working great. Like this is very responsive. It doesn't look as responsive as it does on this thing, but on the actual screen, it's pretty smooth. It's working quite well. So if only the WSJTX would start, I don't know what we did to mess that up. My guess is the updates caused it.
If you want to, you can VNC into mine through number 3 if you want.
Yeah, let's do that.
And I'm going to get out of it, but it's ready to go. If you just want to go right into number 3, it's already VNC'd in.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah.
See if I can zoom in a little bit here. Show remote cursor, switch to full screen.
The screen's a little weird.
Screen's a little bit squished. Oh yeah, I remember this. You have to like scroll left and right.
Yeah, we're still working on this screen on this one, but yeah, anyway. But you can still show them the FT8 comes up if you want. It's up to you. Here, just hover, click on the lower bar down there, and
That's like the Mac dock down there.
yeah, click on that lower bar down there, and the Raspberry will show up.
Will it?
Yeah, click to the right a little bit. Click to the right a little bit.
All right.
To the right.
Oh, there it goes.
Yeah, isn't that ignorant? Okay,
That's weird.
And it's a graphics thing. It's no big deal.
It's because we're remoted in.
Yeah, it's just a remote thing. But anyway, my WSJTX did load.
Don't need that. Huh. I wonder what the... I think it's the updates. I think it's the updates. And it's in dark mode already.
Yeah.
Dave was just showing me how to turn it on to dark mode on Linux. I didn't know you could do that, but you actually can. So yeah, here we go. It's not connected to a radio right now, but if we were to plug in a radio over rig control and I guess a USB sound card for the audio in and out, it would work like it normally would. So that's really, really cool. It's actually working quite well. And the audio is like the same as a normal Linux install with Pulse Audio headphones and stuff. So yeah, that's all. It's all working. There's our waterfall with a blank waterfall. There's no audio.
I'm telling you, if you wanted to have FT8 just running, let me tell you guys what I'm doing here. I just tonight have gotten my 8,000th contact earlier today. And what I am dealing with is so many people I've already got. So what I like to do is go to a more exotic band like 15 meters, or if I can find something running that's a little different, like 30, instead of always going to 20 and 40. I go there and I put my alerts on to let me know when I've got a new grid or a new zone or a new anything. And I just leave it running all the time, and I'll be out here working for hours and it won't say anything. And all of a sudden the band will open up and it'll say new zone, and I'll look over there and I'll start hitting it and I'll start working it. So if I'm doing it that way, this would be something on a 4. I wouldn't try this on a 3, but on a 4, you could load up Grid Tracker WSJTX on a Raspberry Pi on a side screen and not tie up your main computer with all that. That's kind of what I was thinking. If I had this hooked up to my radio, if I had a 4 and it was hooked up to my radio, I could do all my radio functions through it. So, what we got here?
Ham clock.
Ham clock.
Ham clock. Oh, it's what is this keyboard? I don't know what this keyboard is. Can I type using a normal keyboard? K M. Oh yeah, I can. Okay.
Put your call in there.
KM4OVZ. IP geolocation. Oh.
It's got to find all that. Here it goes.
Yeah, this takes a little bit, but it will find your right time and all that good stuff.
Oh, this is how you get the very accurate time. It checked all the different time servers. Very, very accurate.
Yeah, because the seconds are better at some of them than the others.
New versions available. No. Oh, wow. Now this is something really cool that I hadn't seen before.
You seen this?
I will tell you, I'm having the same problem with mine that you're having with yours right now.
Where it looks glitched like this?
Yeah. If you switch to another program and switch back to this, or just, you know, reload the desktop, it'll fix itself. But I'm having the same exact problem you are with this. I wanted to just full screen this and leave it up. It won't full screen, and the graphics keep doing this. So it's glitchy.
Maybe Dave can explain that to us in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Well, and maybe there's a lot of fixes coming with 5 or 1.5. So
yeah, that should be interesting. When did he say that was going to be out?
he didn't. He specifically said that he didn't say when it was going to be out, but it was going to be really soon.
Really soon. Well, that's well. Considering what we're paying for this software, I'm not going to complain.
The price is right. Seriously.
It already works. So what are these little like triangles popping up and moving around? Are these just graphical bugs, or are these like live data from something?
I think those are satellites.
Oh.
I think that's a satellite tracker. I don't know. I just started using this myself, but you can see I like the gray line. That's nice.
Oh yeah, that's a great picture.
Yeah, and I like the I don't know. If those are satellites, see, those are satellite plots, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, wow.
Those are polar orbit satellite plots.
Be useful for some of your weather satellite, you know.
Yeah, very much would. I wonder if you can configure which satellites show up on here.
I'm sure
Because
you
like
can.
I'm clicking around here. Some of them are like, if I just click in a random spot, it seems to kind of WX too fast. I'm not sure what that means. I guess I don't know how this works, but this is pretty cool.
It's one of those things where it's really cool. I wish I knew what it did.
Yeah, that.
Hey, if I click the little marker over Florida, it says like the weather conditions for here.
Oh yeah.
But then it also shows like a satellite track looking thing, so I'm not sure.
We know the sun is coming up in Afghanistan.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, there it goes. Yeah, I love this gray line thing where it shows where it's dark and where it's light, and the time here. This is one of the kind of things that I would want to set up on a permanent little screen mounted somewhere and just have this on all the time.
You know, Raspberry Pi is something that you could buy a 32-inch monitor. By the way, they're under $100 if you look around.
I'm not surprised.
Under $100. A 32-inch monitor. You buy that, you stick it up in the corner. You buy a Raspberry Pi. You plug it in up in the back. You buy you a little remote control mouse if you want to plug into it, or just VNC into it. And you just put it up there and put your HamPi on it, and just Velcro the Raspberry Pi on the back of the TV. And it's a self-contained unit, and it's all set to go. And what's really great about it is you can just, if you need to go up and program it or work on it, you can just VNC into it. You don't have to even have a keyboard or a mouse hooked up to it.
Yeah, it's really awesome. And these things can just sit and run for forever and never have problems. The thing that makes them so stable is because it's a specific piece of hardware, and the hardware is always the same. So when they develop software for it, they know exactly what it's going to work on. It's not like with, you know, a personal computer where everybody is different.
Everybody's got a different bunch of hardware on it.
And not only that, they all run their own different versions of the operating systems too.
Yeah.
The phones are bad about that. The LG operating system in your phone is completely different than the Samsung operating system. Even though they're both Raspberry Cream Pi or whatever, it doesn't matter because it's a Samsung, it's an LG. You can look at them; they're totally different. They're two totally different programs, and I just hate that. Because now, if I switch, they do that because they don't want you to switch brands of phone.
And the updates are dependent upon the hardware vendor, which sucks too.
Yep. Of course, the first thing I do is disable all updates.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. What else we got on here?
Got more clock stuff. Verse Beacon Network, HamFax. There's a lot of, it's got your new radio.
Network is really cool. You can set up and send a signal from where you are, and it'll pick you up and show you if it picked you up.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's good. Pretty neat. That's how you can figure out what your antenna's doing.
The what was it?
RBN client, I guess. Reverse Beacon Network. That is I wasn't aware of this.
Call locator.
You can look at it online, and if you're sending out signals, you can see if you were particularly on CW and JSA or F8 or something like that. It'll pick you up.
I see. So I guess you put your log. I don't know why it wants a log file. I guess that's how you tell it when you transmitted and where.
I guess your call is your regular FCC call, and then locator is probably your Maidenhead, whatever it is.
Can add friends here? Like what? Enter friend call sign. What does that even do? Huh, it's like a little mini contact log thing. Well, that's neat. What else have we got? We've got
I don't know what that does.
Chirp is on here. That's really cool. I can
used
demonstrate
last
there.
week to get my my old ICW 32AT working. Works great.
The Chirp did not brick it.
No, it did not. Well, you got to remember that you got to download, you got to read the radio first, and then you.
That's probably the biggest mistake in ham radio right there.
Yeah.
Because everybody, the first thing they do is they buy their Bofang. Most of them come with a programming cable. Yeah. And they get that thing and they load up Chirp and they try to blow that into the radio, and you can't do that. Always build your code plug in Chirp then download the radio, and then select the channels you want out of the thing you built
That's right.
and paste it into the one that you got out of the radio, and then blow it back into the radio. That's the only way to do it. Any other way, and it's going to mess it up. Yep.
That's right.
This is a cool piece of software here, and I actually had I helped out a little bit with the development of this. This is Dude Star, and what it is it's a desktop client for all these different digital modes like DMR, and IAX is actually All Star. DMR here, you actually have to have a DMR ID, and then what you do is you actually put your ID in here, and then that will, when you transmit, it'll act like having a code plug on your radio, and you can put your call in here. The bit I helped with was actually on the All Star settings. There were some issues with the audio, with the connecting to an actual All Star node, and I helped the developer troubleshoot that a bit and get it working. I used to use this a lot because All Star was something that I was kind of forced to use for a long time to talk to some people down in Naples. And so I had an actual login, and you actually put in the login information here into the All Star. On the Raspberry Pi, you actually set up like users, and so you could log into a node and actually go in here, and you could hit connect, and then you'd have TX, you have a little TX button here, and you can transmit and receive All Star as well as all these other different modes. There's Yaesu Fusion, I recognize that. DMR P25. I'm not sure what these other modes are.
Now, are these for you to talk through your computer, through the internet, into the systems? Is that what this is for?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the DTMF pattern. This is a cool little piece of software. It's pretty new.
So if you had this, could you talk on the Yazoo system here in town?
Well, it depends on if their system is set up for that. I think it would depend on that, and I'm not sure how you log into one of those. Like
called wires, and what's the other name for it?
Wires X.
System.
Yeah, well, the only reason I'm asking is I really like that Wednesday night. I think is it Wednesday or Thursday night, that the Yazoo net.
Yeah, that's right after the 220 net.
Yeah, it's on Wednesday night right after the 220 net. He does early check-ins at 7:30, and then at 8 o'clock he does the net. He does everything. It's a great net, and I would love to be a part of it again. I borrowed a radio for a little while to do it, but the truth is I'm not going to buy a radio for that, just for that one net. I'm not getting into these 3 digital modes right now. There's just too many other things to do.
Too many of them.
Now, if I could connect with it through my computer, or connect it to where I could have a node here where I could connect through one of my other radios or something, I would do that. But I don't think I'm not interested in buying a $300 or $400 radio right now.
I don't blame you. I'm not either.
I'm not 100% sure how all this works for Fusion, but you might be able to connect to it from this client here. I think it would have to be linked to like a reflector or something, because some of these here say like reflector on them.
Yeah. Well, this is something we can play with later. I just was wondering.
Yeah. This is a cool little thing here. I like this piece of software. I used it for a long time, and I'm really happy to see it running on a Raspberry Pi. It's really cool.
Yeah, because that's something, if it worked, that you could turn on and leave on again and be monitoring a channel on Yazoo or whatever. So I mean, it's something you could just leave on again. The one thing that Linux and Raspberry Pi has over all the other operating systems is the fact that you set it and forget it, and it'll say this is the same basic. The basic Linux operating system is what they use for probably 90+% of the world's servers out there, because it is so stable. So like, I'm running these Broadcastify feeds on Windows computers. I have to restart them all the time. Once I get them on Raspberry Pis or on Linux machines, they may run for months without restarting. They're on a battery backup. They may run for months without restarting. So it's just a much cleaner, much better operating system.
There's a load of Linux boxes. And where I work, we have a lot of Linux systems. they'll run for months and months and months. And the only reason you reboot them is to update the kernel.
Right. We had a dispatch system that was running on Unix, which is similar to Linux.
Yeah.
And that system stayed up for, it was 18 plus months at one point.
Not surprised.
And they finally had to shut it down because they had to change out the battery backup system. The battery was failing. And the only way you can do that is to shut it down.
Remember?
It was a Unix system. No, I don't remember anything else about it.
Well, I was wondering if it's AIX or HPUX or.
You know, and it was right about the time Windows 3.1.1 was popular, and this thing had a Windows type interface that was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And that was the dispatch software. We had five consoles that had 3 screens each, and they were 21-inch screens. And trust me, for the time, these things were furnaces.
Oh yeah.
Between the big Motorola consoles and these big huge screens and all this big huge equipment and all this big stuff, and then they had these big air conditioners, and then they had to put more air conditioners in. Yeah, it was crazy.
When you turn the monitor on, the lights would flicker.
I know. And in this room, this little room that we were in, this dispatch center, had like 20 of these 21-inch screens.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and literally you could put your sandwich on the back of this thing and would warm it up for lunch.
Yeah.
But anyway,
no surprise there.
Old CRTs. So what do you got here, Joseph? This is FL Digi.
FL Digi.
Digi, yeah.
Yep, there we go. We can put our stuff in and send our messages. And it's cool because all of this will work with rig control. And if you have a USB sound card in here, it'll work just like it will on any other computer. It's just running on the little Raspberry Pi. And it's kind of making me realize that a Raspberry Pi, especially like a 4, would be a pretty much perfectly adequate little ham radio computer, because you don't need a lot of power for most ham radio stuff. I mean, this will run the SDR, and that's like the most demanding program out there. FT8 and FL Digi and Grid Tracker and everything else seems like it runs just fine on here. So if you needed like a little extra computer just to run ham stuff on, this might be the way to go instead of buying like a whole laptop, because this just works. I mean, especially if you do all your logging on the internet, it actually has the web browser built in. If you do all your logging on QRZ or something like that, that'll integrate with WSJTX. It'll automatically log, or Grid Tracker, I think is the one that integrates.
Yeah.
I mean, all this just works. I mean, the web browser works. This might be like a very good, it might even be better to get like something like this, like the Raspberry Pi 400, which is probably got a little bit more power in it, and it's like a keyboard. For just for ham use, these seem like a really good option.
Yeah, I'd like.
You know what's funny? My first computer was a keyboard where everything plugged in the back like that.
Yeah.
It was called a Commodore 64.
Oh yeah, I know. I used to have one of those.
And when Steve W9GPI handed me the Raspberry Pi 400, he handed it to me. He goes, "Here it is," and he handed it to me, and I grabbed it, and I go, "Oh wow, it's just a thinner version of the Commodore 64."
64, but it's a lot more powerful.
Yeah, it sure is. It's actually about as powerful as 1 million Commodore 64s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I had the Commodore 64. I had the little color monitor that came with it. Of course, that was CRT. I had the floppy drive and a modem.
The floppy drive was the 1821 floppy drive.
Yeah.
I had the 401 printer, and I had the tape drive that I used before I got my floppy disk drive.
Yeah, I had one of those too.
And I never had the screen. I always just plugged it into my little color TV that I had.
Yeah, I had the actual color screen.
I had the little metal box with the ribbon wire coming out that had the little switch that said TV computer.
Yeah.
Everybody had one of them little silver boxes on the back of their TV.
Yeah.
And then Joseph was born.
Those were the days.
Anyway, I tell you, my fondest memory of Commodore 64 was sitting around the F building at the Edison Community College, And there would literally, they had tables all around the outside of this big, huge room. And we all had our computers. We all brought our computers and our color TVs from home, and we sat them up. And we would walk by and just show each other how we learned how to do this and we learned how to do that. It was the beginning of computing. There wasn't even RAM in these computers. They literally loaded the software for that program when you started it. The program itself was part of the operating software.
There was no operating system at all. You said
Basically, yeah, exactly. And the program was written to run with the system, and it was the operating system. And it was neat because you would literally start the thing up, and you get a prompt, and you'd have to type, you know, to load something off your tape drive.
Yeah.
And it would say okay, and it would sit there blinking, and then you would press play on the cassette tape, and it would play. It would play wee 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 into the computer, and then you'd go eat dinner. And then when you came back after 25 minutes, your program would be loaded into the computer now, and you could do whatever it was it would do.
Yeah.
Which wasn't much, because they didn't do anything back then.
I also had one of those little Sinclair ZX81s.
Oh, I never had one of those.
Oh yeah, I saw on the line someplace the fellow that invented those, Clive Sinclair. He passed away at age 81, but he invented those. There's a little bitty computer that was not even as big as the Raspberry Pi 400. Had a little bitty keyboard on it, and you used a cassette deck to load the software on it too. And you had a little plug-in module on the back that was your memory. If you wanted to use more than 4K of memory, I believe it was. The little plug-in module would take you to 16K. Whoopee!
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Oh yeah, I was playing with this one the other night. This is cool. This shows you the satellites and their receiver ranges, I guess.
Yeah, this is great for trying to download stuff from ISS and everything. I used this when the ISS was doing SSTV. Man, so many acronyms: ISS, SSTV. That's what they're doing.
It's the military with their damn acronyms.
This is our yeah. This is a good program to have. It shows these. I think there's a way to get it to actually show like the track, like the little lines where it's supposed to be going, but I couldn't find the option in here. I'm not really sure where that is. But this is a great program. So it's nice that it's in here because you got all the stuff you could want. Gives you the current location and everything. I think it even shows the Doppler effect. Look at that. Doppler at 100. I think that means 100 megahertz. Yeah. Shows you the amount that it's shifting by. So it's gonna, yeah, wow. It's quite a lot.
The Doppler effect's cool if you guys are ever monitoring voice communications from the space station. The frequency will actually change as it goes over, and that's what the Doppler effect is. And the frequency tends to, it speeds up as it's coming towards you, and then it tends to slow down as the craft is moving away from you. And so you have to adjust your frequency for that. You really don't, but you kind of do. It's one of those things. What you can do, like if you're using a Baofeng and you want to monitor, you can just program your Baofeng to step those frequencies off, and then you can just go up, 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 up like that, and you can stay up with the Doppler effect. It's pretty cool.
Well, some of these programs now will actually keep up with that.
Yeah.
They know where the satellite is, and they figure out what the Doppler frequency will be, and it just goes there. It works great.
All right.
Yeah, they do. Yeah. Yeah, well, the Doppler thing you can get by without messing with it, but if you're going to do it right, when we got pictures from the ISS using the software defined radio, you can actually see it kind of slowly slide across the spectrum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But this is cool. It tells you what the current offset is, and that's cool. I thought there was another program in here. I guess this is it. Gpredict actually can, I believe, interface with certain software, probably not any software on here, but on the Windows, it can interface with SDR Sharp and automatically change the frequency as it goes by. Well, that's most of the stuff that I know how to use, or I know what does. There's QSSTV. That's another one I want to check out. That's the Echolink Client. I've never used this before. I've always, because actually the funny thing is that the actual Echolink Client works fine on Linux with Wine. This is, I guess I need to sign in with my account. Yeah, see, I would need to sign in here and get this all set up to work. But that's cool that it's on here. I'm glad that there's an actual client for that. Well,
Oh, excuse me.
Comes with a little README doc. Oh, look at that. It's got Office on the actual Pi. This is probably going to take forever. Oh, wait, maybe not.
Yep.
That's funny. Comes with it on there. Oh, yeah, this thing has Bluetooth too. I don't know if y'all knew this, but the Pi has Bluetooth. You can use it for audio and things like that. What does this say? White screen?
Newer Pis and they have gigabit Ethernet too.
Yeah, I think they do. Well, people use these for like servers and stuff, for like storage servers.
Yeah, I've got something here that's called a Pi hole, and all that is a DNS server that will filter out ads.
How well does that work?
Works very well.
Wow, maybe I need to set one up.
Look up Pi hole and it PIHOLE, and it will tell you how to set it up and everything. Piece of cake. You can use an older Pi for it. I run a Pi 3, I think it is. Mine has 512 megs on it. It works just fine.
Oh, shut your pie hole.
So we're on 1.4 right now, or version 1.5 is what's coming up next. What? By running this image on your Pi that you consent to giving your idle CPU cycles to radio telescope research. Oh, does he have
Oh yeah, that kind of came up. I noticed that coming up today when I turned mine on.
Boink, the Boink thing.
Boink, yeah.
That's interesting.
I wonder what we were boinking.
Wait, there's a lot of dirty terms in this in today's show.
No, the Boink. It's like you donate your CPU power to radio astronomy research. That's pretty cool. I wonder how much useful computing they can do with a Raspberry Pi.
Do you use Boink with your dongle? I'm just wondering. I didn't know.
You've been boinking with your dongle.
Here's our list of stuff we have on here. I gotta say, I'm very impressed with all this. Oh, here's the list of all the driver stuff that it comes with. Oh, it's got SDR Angel. I didn't notice that before. And Lean SDR?
Yeah.
So it comes with the SOAPy.
It's got more
SDR library
SOAPy than 12 showers. I don't understand all the SOAPy stuff. What's that? Tell me what that means.
It's a. You could do it. Take it away, Rick, if you want to.
Yeah, just help me out with SOAPy.
That's for supporting your different SDRs. Now I've got an SDR play here, which I need to plug in and see how that does. But there's some other ones too. So you can do more than just the SDRs that you've been talking about here lately. So that does all kinds of stuff.
It says here it's got SDR module for SDR play.
Yeah.
But yeah, SOAPy SDR, it's a library.
Yeah, it's a library. That's all it is.
And the funny thing is that like the HackRF driver is really buggy, but the SOAPy SDR HackRF thing works usually good. And look at that, it supports HackRF. Looks like it supports pretty much everything. And this is also what I think lets you use stuff with the other program, the GNU Radio program. But yeah, man, there is so much stuff here, more than I know what does. It's got WinLink stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's 9:45, so it's not like we're going to be able to go through every single thing in here. The main purpose of tonight's show, or tonight's net, or tonight's gathering, whatever you want to call this thing that we do, was to basically give you guys, to show you guys how easy and cheap it is to set something like this up. And then you don't even have to have a purpose for it yet, because once you load it up, you'll find a purpose. That's the easy part. because it does everything.
Does all kinds of stuff. It's going to be fascinating to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, I can't wait to have him on. Just to mention one more time, Dave Slaughter is going to be coming on the show in 2 or 3 weeks. And
does he has say Slaughter or Sloater?
I watched several other nets that and shows that he was on to try to so I could learn more about him, and it's pronounced Slaughter. I'm pretty
Slaughter,
sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how he pronounces it. And
Yeah.
Whoa, it has amateur radio practice material in here. Oh, look at this. All right. What should a station operator do before making a transmission?
Oh, it's a DOS test prep thing.
Except for transmission to determine the frequency is not in use by monitoring the frequency before using. Correct. Which VHF channel used for digital? Oh, what? I don't know the answer to this one. There's channels?
Only for digital selective calling. You sure they're talking about marine radios?
I think this must be like a combination of marine something else. Oh wow, look at that. I got it right.
I think it's the calling channel.
I put A and it was correct.
Cool.
I don't know what this is either. I think this is a mix of ham stuff and because up here it said it had like
weird.
It's got
Oh, it does have marine operator permit.
ship
stuff.
radar. I selected this basic radio law and operating practice. So it's not just amateur radio. It's
So that's got to have your marine and all that stuff.
got everything in there.
Well, if you're one of those warm and fuzzy for DOS kind of guys, this is cool.
This is pretty cool. It has a Morse code trainer in here too.
Did.
Quirk. How do you spell that? How do you pronounce that? Kirk?
Kirk.
Quirk?
Quirk. Quark.
QRQ.
How do you do this? My call. Oh, I gotta delete the other thing. Is it gonna let me do Morse code? I don't hear anything. Oh. I don't know how I'm supposed to do this. I can't hear any sound right now, so it's not gonna help me.
Yeah, you'll be able to hear sound.
And yeah, the other thing is that the Pi comes with other stuff besides the ham stuff. It comes with a Python IDE. Comes with a couple different IDEs for Python. Got the all office stuff. It's got an email client built in. Oh, look at this. Hey, this is the same little control panel that we have on everything else. It's got the built in that. Everything's built in. VLC media player, that's cool. Games. Has games on it. Oh, what? Boing? Oh, this is cool. Our let's see what our temperature is.
I thought I heard some sound.
That wasn't from me, I don't think.
No, that's my lightning alert thing going off.
Well, I guess I can't. Oh, there we go.
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger.
Yeah, it swings its arms around and spins back and forth.
Oh, look, we got a graph. It actually prints it out. So that's the temperature of the Pi. We're at 142 degrees Fahrenheit. Can I put my finger on it? Ah, that's pretty hot.
Just instruct your Pi to monitor itself forever.
The Pi's only function is to report its statistics.
Monitor yourself, and that's it.
Not gonna cool it down a little bit. Yeah, it did. Look at that. It's already went down. CPU percentage. There we go. So if we start something up, that'll spike way up.
That's kind of like telling your dog to chase its tail in infinite.
Oh, the Boink manager. Oh, it's the Arecibo telescope. That's gone.
Who needs a Boink manager? That's something you should handle on your own. My God. Who in the hell would hire a BOINC manager? Is that the same as a pimp?
That'd be an interesting thing to put that on your resume. I was a BOINC manager at
Oh,
such and
okay.
such so and so. What did you accomplish as a BOINC manager?
Yeah. That's so sad what happened to Arecibo.
Oh, I
Yeah,
know,
that's
it's
bad.
terrible. Hey, but think of this though. We caught it. Some guy caught it with a drone when it happened. That's pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah, they had a bunch of cameras set up too because they knew it was going to happen. There's about 8 views of it. The drone was actually taking shots of the cable as it failed,
Oh, yeah.
which I don't know has ever happened before in human history. And they knew it was going to happen, so nobody got hurt. We just lost our huge telescope.
Yep.
Yeah, that thing. I couldn't believe that center part weighed 900 tons.
Isn't that
right?
ridiculous?
Yeah,
What the hell
what
was
have we got in there?
What did they put up there? A bunch of Buicks? I mean, come on.
It had
Yeah.
all that equipment for the receivers.
No, I know, but I know, and the thing that we're not taking into consideration is when all that equipment was installed up there. It was 1960 something equipment, so that stuff weighs a lot more than today's equipment.
I don't know of any ham stations that weigh 900 tons, even if you use the oldest tube type equipment. Man,
Well, and like with anything else, like with rocket fuel dynamics or anything else, the structure that was designed to hold it probably weighed more than what it held.
yeah.
I don't think
And
that's
you had
how
all that heating and air conditioning. Well, most probably didn't have a whole lot of heating, but you had to have air conditioning.
Oh yeah.
and it was all like a building that you could walk around in and everything. Yeah, it was really cool. We saw a video of a tour of the actual telescope, and it was on the walkway. Like when you walk on that bridge that goes across it, you can see the waveguide that carries the actual signals through, going right over your head. Is the waveguide going along? I think it's actually
there
I
it
think it might
is.
have been underneath, but this is very cool. But yeah, look at this thing. It's huge. Although
Yeah,
900 tons does seem kind of high. But that's what they say it weighs. So
There's
Yeah, that
probably
thing-
more processing power in the Raspberry 4 than there is in that whole thing.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
probably pretty amazing.
Oh
Gonna
well.
run the whole thing off of Pi.
They're going to replace it.
I
Heard
don't know.
rumors of that.
From what I understand, there's one right now. I think it's in China or somewhere that can do just about the same work this one was doing. But of course, I don't think we have as much access to that information. I heard that the last article I read was that there's people got together. They're trying to replace it, but in today's dollars,
It's going
and
to
the
be a
remote
colossal
site-
expense to do that.
it's a remote site. You have to look at it this way. It's a remote site. So everything has to be trucked or flown there. The second thing you have to remember is we have to remove the old one before we can start building the new one. And number 3 is just the cost of everything right now is so bad,
Oh, yeah,
especially building material. So I have no idea. I don't think we'll see that array replaced with anything right there at that site. Now there is other scientific work that's done at that site, and the site's still active, but obviously the main thing there is gone.
Man,
What is that monitoring now? CPU
percentage. So when we had the browser open and everything, that's what all these little spikes were here. Now you can see it's calming down a little bit. And we got live temperature here too, our degrees and everything. So it's kind of like your task manager on Windows.
I like this.
Oh, we gotta exit the BOINC manager. Exit the BOINC manager.
Your BOINC has been managed.
Boinkity, boinkity, boinkity.
But Mike, I have to ask: are you a certified BOINC manager?
I don't know. That sounds like a
I wouldn't
Microsoft
want to use
racket.
someone that's unlicensed. You know.
There you go. That sounds like a Microsoft racket to me.
Are you a master boink manager?
There you go.
That'd be a hell
I'll be a
of
master boinker.
That'd be a hell of a way to go to a job interview. There's a master bunker.
Oh, I'm
What?
sure we've offended at least somebody by now. All right. Joseph, I hate to push, but we're almost at 10 o'clock. Is there anything else we can show them here real quick? And then I'm going to move on and do the news and go to bed.
I think we're pretty much covered.
Not that I'm rushing things, but we
probably
still got another.
stuff taken off of YouTube by now anyway.
Yeah, that's fine.
I think this is pretty much all I was planning on showing. We showed all the main programs and everything and went through the list of what's on here.
We'll play with it some more in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
We're going to be revisiting this. We're not done. This is the first night where we've started to talk about it. Now, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is going to be to go and get you one of these and get it set up so that in 2 or 3 weeks you can ask any questions that you have of the guy that created the software. That's going to be the best thing.
Running to get the VNC.
Yeah, and the thing is even if you do nothing with this right away, but just hook it up to a little TV that you've got stuck in your closet that you're not using and put a HamPi on it, or have it display. You know what you can do with it? And this is crazy, but if nothing else, when you first get it, pull up the browser and pull up PSK Reporter and just have it monitoring the propagation for you. You can leave that up on a screen and it will auto refresh 24 hours a day. Never have to touch it. All right, I keep this one up here. Normally is doing that. It's a propagation screen for me normally when we're not doing anything else with it. It just stays up with all the lines and I can see who's talking to who and what's going on. I really like it. All right, let's go ahead and press on. Joseph, thank you very much for that amazing 2 hours there. I got to tell you, also thank you, Joseph, for taking the top of the show. I had to work tonight. I had, interestingly enough, I had a fill-in host because my host is out of town.
Yeah.
My call screener is on vacation. She's out of town. That left me there producing by myself with no call screener, and I'm producing a remote show that we did over the internet. And but it went very well tonight, and she's very good at what she does, and she's great. Yeah, she was very good tonight. We've had a couple in the past that weren't that good, but her and Mike Apelka, I like both of them. Anyway, let's go ahead and it's hard when your host is out. You got to have a fill-in, and that's why I like having a co-host. I don't need a fill-in. I got a co-host. When you have a co-host, you don't need a fill-in. Special thanks and shout out tonight to the Amateur Radio Association of Southwest Florida. These guys are down in Collier County in Naples, and they're kind of our affiliate down in Collier County. And they do great stuff for us. They put out all of our notifications for us about all of our webs and all of our nets and all that stuff, and we really appreciate it. And some of those guys are in tonight, so I just want to throw a little shout out there to the Amateur Radio Association of Southwest Florida. And then I also will quickly mention CARS up in Charlotte County is also very good about putting out our stuff. For some reason, the FMARC doesn't feel like they need to help us out, even though we're all members there, but that's okay. The next thing is
work on them.
And here I'm going to plug all their nets. So here we go. Just real quick, the NTS net, the Sunshine net, the pharmaceutical net. Try to get involved in some of these nets, guys. We're trying to get the numbers up on some of these. These three are really good ones. Loggerhead, Windmill Net on Sunday night. I was on Windmill, but I'm having a real hard time with my SWR on 10, so I just checked in real quick and bowed out. I did get on the Loggerhead with Alex this week. I like that one because it's a good test for your antenna because the antenna is out on Sanibel. And the Newbie Net is a really good one for newer folks. And I'm just going to go real quick through these. You guys know when all these are. I like to do this one with the Lee County one, and then 30 minutes later I do the Charlotte County one. And then, of course, the $1.25 net. And the 3 digital nets, this is a great Yazoo net. This guy does a really good job there. And I was on GabFest this week. We had a great Simplex net last night, actually. And Charles was on there. and I missed the digital practice net, but I went back this morning because I was checking my feeds. And while I was checking my feeds, I actually heard these guys sending their images back and forth on my Broadcastify playback. So I pulled up my MMSS TV and I was downloading their pictures using my Broadcastify playback from last night. So that was kind of cool. You can actually do that. And of course, the Southwest Florida TechNet. Ham Radio News. This just in. The world of DX. There's not a lot going on, but just wanted to mention just a few things out there. The Ross Island and Antarctica, the McMurdo Station, is going to be operating between now and October. This guy Mark can be heard on 14243. So you might want to try it if you need to get Antarctica. It's one of the most difficult stations to get. And so if you want to try to get him, there's an opportunity there.
It's not as bad as North Korea.
No, it's not. No, because I think Kim Jong-un's the only one there allowed to own a radio. I know he's the only one with a porch light that's on at night. If you're planning to work, any amateurs from Belgium, be listening for the special prefix of OS. And they're going to be operating using that through the 12th of December. So you kind of keep an ear out for that. And the Tokyo Ham Fest, we already talked about that, was canceled, unfortunately. The CC Flares readiness exercise. This is tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I asked Dwayne up there if he wants participants from outside CC Flares and outside Charlotte County. They welcome anyone that wants to check in, as with most things with ham radio. And so if you want to check in, that would be great. We're going to initially start out on the WX4E repeater, and you can get that on either one of those frequencies there or on WinLink. You can actually go, or Echolink, I'm sorry, you can actually listen to that part of the exercise on Echolink. And right now, I've got patched in for tomorrow morning. If you go to the KO4EFS feed on Broadcastify, you'll be able to listen to the entire exercise tomorrow. I'm going to have my radio set on all 4 of the frequencies that they're using. And so that feed will be live tomorrow from 10 to 11:30 with this entire exercise being broadcast over it. So you can check it out if you're out of the area. That's on Broadcastify. Look for Southwest Florida amateur radio feeds, and you can just put in KO4EFS, my call sign, and it'll come right up. Once they check in on the main repeater, they're also going to check in with each person on each of these 4 repeaters. And so you can try to get these. If you're down here in Lee County, they get a little harder as you go. The WX4E is up in Punta Gorda, but then these other ones are a lot further up. I find the K80NV is pretty easy to get. The W4DUX is a little more difficult, but you'll be able to get it. And of course, the KF4QWC is actually our 685 repeater. I bet you most of you can get that. This is what they're going to be asking for, just your name and stuff. And this is their goals. They want to basically work on their system up there. They're going to be setting up some remote sites, and we're going to be supporting that by giving them traffic to test their remote sites with. They're also going to be operating at the EOC and things like that. There's your basic times. Not much to worry about there. The main exercise roll call starts at 10 o'clock on the WX4E repeater. And that's it. Hey, there we are. This is our new poster I've kind of been working on. Look at all those folks, man.
I see myself.
So did everybody make the poster? I'm making another one. I made this and now I don't like it. So I'm going to make another one. I do like Joseph and his radio on there though. But yeah, I'll probably make another one. All right, watching the tropics. Let's go to my favorite website besides ours, of course, and that is spaghettymodels.com, which is Mike's weather page. And we're going to start real quick. I'm going to go through this pretty quick. I'm going to talk about it in just a minute, but I did a survey, and somebody said in the survey that I take way too long on this weather crap. So I'm going to try to go a little faster through the weather because I know it doesn't interest everybody. So, but anyway, there's one storm out there, tropical storm Odette, and she is flying away from the U.S. now with haste and will be gone before long. All this basically did was burn up a number and give a little bit of surf to some folks in the Northeast. So there's really not a lot from that. And then there's really not a lot else going on, except we have this one very interesting disturbance here in the coming out of the intertropical convergence zone. And it's working its way up towards the northern Windward Islands. And this one here bears watching because this is in the pipe. Now, it's on the north end of the pipe, but it's on the pipe for Florida. So we just have to watch this one because this is literally going to be coming into the northern Caribbean right at the peak of hurricane season here. So we had to kind of watch that as we go into it. We are coming right towards the end of the peak right now. So this one here is got about an 80% chance of cyclone formation over the next 5 days as it continues to move west-northwest at 15 miles an hour. And we're going to go back real quick and just take a look at the models on this one. What is it going to do? Around and around it goes. Does the GFS, I haven't run these since this morning, so this is a little surprise for me too. Does the GFS pick it up? Well, yeah, it does. It actually does have storm genesis here, and it does pick it up and it carries it along, but it does bring it in just north of the Windward Islands there, just north of all that, and comes in, keeping it really low, and then right here at the end of the forecast, you'll see that there's a sudden hook to the north. If that holds, I don't know exactly what's causing that sudden hook to the north. I can't believe it's this low pressure way up, or this high pressure way up here drawing it. But the models suggest that this low pressure is going to want to take a sudden move to the north. Got to watch that. I don't know about that. And then this model also wants to form another one. It shows genesis on another one way down in the intertropical again. Yeah. And that one's going to come across and it gets really big, turns into what could be a major hurricane, but it's a fish storm. That one's going to probably be a fish storm. You like those. Yeah, we like the fish storms because we get to watch them, but they don't kill nobody. All right, this is the Euro, this piss poor model. I say that because this used to be my favorite model. This was the best model ever.
The most accurate, but
yeah. And it shows genesis, but it really doesn't do a lot with it. But it look at that. I mean, it's got like the turn signal on.
Man, takes a hard right turn.
I don't know. It does pick up that other one, and it does bring it into the islands there.
It just misses Bermuda.
Yeah, it sure does. That's the second near miss for them.
And then that other one.
Let's go one more. See, yeah, that it picked up that other one too. Going back real quick, it also picked up the other one and brought it in towards the islands. But now whether it didn't pick up that northern hook, and it actually, this one creates another one coming off of the African coast too. And one more, guys, and we'll move on. This one, the CMC picks it up as well. Does it do the wild right turn? Can I have a drum roll? No, the CMC does not see a wild right turn, but does have a right turn at the end of the forecast.
But it does head north, and then ouch, it goes right over Bermuda.
It is out of here. All right, so that's that. So really not a lot to report there, which is a good thing when it comes to all that, because like I said, this is the time of year where the really, really dangerous ones will form up. This is that time of year. So let's move on past that. That was the hurricane segment. All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Joseph now for our website of the week. Over to you. He might not be there. Okay, everybody gets a bathroom break. By the way, I had several suggestions that we need to add in bathroom breaks every hour. And we're working on a way to do that. Let's see here. We're going to come back to that. Remind me to come back to that.
I'm back.
Oh, you're back. And
sorry.
Over to Joseph.
Okay, yeah, SDR forums. This is like a brand new forum. It was created like last week, I think. There's like 3 posts on there, but there's more. It's a new forum, and it's basically the focus is SDR software sorry, all aspects of software-defined radios. Right now, we have a couple forums. We have a couple groups.io pages, but I really can't stand groups.io. And then, of course, we have like the RTL SDR blog, but that only really covers RTL SDR. So this forum pretty much covers all SDR hardware and software, everything about it. And I'm glad this is here because I finally have a place where I can ask questions and stuff. And the owner, the creator, is actually doing a giveaway for an RTL SDR, and it's I think it's a new like Nestor Smart V4, which is like the same one I have here, and it's a great little piece of equipment. So yeah, if y'all want to be active on the forum or whatever, I think if you create an account and you make a post, then that adds you in as a potential winner for the SDR. But yeah, that's just a new little website that's coming up, and it's very cool.
All right, so check that out, and I'm going to go on and do that too. You might as well, right? Help the guy out. I like to help out people starting new websites, being as that I was a new guy starting a new website just recently. All right, ham radio contests. Here we go. I also, some of the feedback I've been getting is that you guys don't give a crap about contests. Message received. Here they are. We're going to go right past. There's some QSO parties this week. Rather than doing all the information, I'm going to be more of a summary now. But we got the Texas QSO, the Iowa QSO, New Hampshire QSO, New Jersey QSO, all this weekend. Washington State Salmon Run. Don't get any on you. And the Wisconsin Parks on the, I hate fish. I'm just not a fish guy. You know, how can you eat something that stinks? Wisconsin Parks on the air, and the Collegiate QSO party. You might have to be in college to do that one. I'm not sure. But anyway, there you go. And a picture of Joseph Shack there on the left.
Oh.
And our quick reference is up. If you're new to ham radio, check it out. Our quick reference guide is up and available for you. The newsletter. Guys, oh my goodness. I put out a bunch of emails today. I've been trying to find all the people in FMARC that I haven't heard from in a while. So I sent out a bunch of emails to them over there. And I also sent out a bunch to other people and all the other groups and everybody. And I asked everybody to send out a thing saying, please sign up for our newsletter. I've had like 20 signups in the last 2 days. We now have 50 people who have subscribed, and that does not include the 20 members of the Southwest Florida Tech team that have joined up. So there's actually a lot of people now. I think there's about 70 people total on our mailing list now.
Ian, something I noticed now, I'm in 3 groups IOs from clubs in Atlanta, and they sent through the, I think on 8 different ones up there, notification of this net.
Yeah, so I was actually getting to that. Dallas put those out for us, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, thank you, Dallas, for that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I received it on 3 different ones.
Very
Only
nice.
3?
He sent it out on a bunch of them. And I really appreciate that. We're trying to get the word out. I think once people see what we're doing here, a lot of them stick around because it's good stuff. A lot of people see what we're doing here and they don't like it. It's not for them. And I get that too. You know, I'm in the business of producing radio that people like. And the first thing you have to understand is for every person that likes what you do, there's going to be 10 people that want nothing to do with what you do. And so I kind of get that. And we're trying to every day trying to generate those numbers up a little bit more. And the nice thing is our newsletter is doing great. I've got a lot of positive feedback that it's one of the better newsletters out there right now. And so I'm trying to keep that going by packing that thing twice a week with just the best stuff. And I'm leaving out all that crap. I'm just leaving out. I literally leave a lot on the floor when I put it together, because if it's just something that doesn't interest at all, you know, but I try to also make sure I get all that stuff in there, and I try to keep a really good focus on local and regional as well, because you don't see a lot of that anywhere. Join the Southwest Florida Tech team. Now that we've got this new batch of people that just joined, I'm going to go ahead and schedule our first bylaws meeting here in about 30 days. So that'll be announced. If you want to do that, if you want to get involved in the founding of a new
group,
amateur radio club, whatever you want to call it, tech, that Southwest Florida tech team, just go ahead and click the blue button there, join up. I'm not asking for any money or anything. I just want your effort. The club repeater, we've been monitoring this. Joseph and I talk on this every day, at least 3 times. It's a great way to get on there and just talk to us about what's going on, ask us questions. We're always on there. I monitor a lot in the early mornings, and then after I get to work, Joseph monitors a lot in the evenings, and then I'm back on again a little while before I go to bed. But we do, between us and between some of our other members, we're trying to monitor this thing as much as possible. Spread the word about this TechNet. Dallas did a lot of that for us this week, and our other teams, Cars and the Amateur Radio Club of Southwest Florida, did a lot for us. Amateur Radio Association of Southwest Florida. I want to get their name right. They did a lot for us too. So there's a lot that went out this week, and I really appreciate that. We're looking to do some more stuff. We're looking to install FT8 remote operation units. So if you've got a piece of equipment, or maybe a remote site, maybe an old computer, or maybe an old screen, or maybe an old whatever, let us know. We might be able to use it. I'll come pick it up, and we will make use of it somehow. What I'm really looking for right now is old HF rigs that still have good transmit power and good receive. I don't care if the display doesn't even work, as long as I can get into it and get it to work for us, for a single channel operation. So that's what I'm kind of looking for right now. That's what I'm focusing on. And it can be any kind of rig. I don't care if it's desktop or a mobile or what it is. Let's see. And our resources on the TechNet website. I work on those all the time. I hope you guys like them. And if you ever want to see a new resource on there, just let me know. All right, and that's pretty much my presentation for tonight. I'd like to now open it up to anybody out there that's having any issues or problems with any of their equipment. We don't deal with people problems, only equipment problems here on the TechNet. But if you're having problems with any piece of equipment there, let us know. Maybe we can get you in contact with somebody that can help you, or maybe we can help you right here on the net. So let's open it up right now, open lines to anybody that has anything that they want to bring up to the TechNet tonight.
No.
I heard crickets. I literally
You gotta
heard
stop.
crickets.
Oh man.
Did you hear the crickets? I heard a cricket. I swear I'm not just saying that. I heard a cricket. All right, anyway.
So what was the crickets problem?
I don't know. Well, crickets came from a thing in radio where when there's dead air, we call it crickets.
Yeah, I understand that.
And yeah, and so for those of you who don't, I knew you knew that, but for those of you who didn't know that, that's where that term came from, is crickets. And I actually at work, I have a button called crickets, and he'll say something like, does anybody have any idea how yada 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 does yada yada yada? And I'll hit the crickets button. And it'll just be crickets, crickets, crickets. I don't know. It's good. It's one of those things. I like the crickets. I'm gonna do a button bar for this show, for this net here. I'm gonna do a button bar. I just haven't figured. I think I want to do it on a separate tablet or something, and then just have it, audio wired in, so that I can hit buttons and it won't be attached to the main computer. And I'm gonna have a button bar so that I can play, because my favorite sound effect of all time is the sad tuba from The Price is Right. Boom, 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 boom. That's got to be the best sound effect ever. Yeah. I play that like twice a week on our show at work. Anytime he says something like, and now they're going to tax that too. Boom, 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 boom. It's just great. So anyway, I got to get me a button bar for sound effects. All right. Does anybody have anything else on that? I do. I got my the plane tracker the other day. I was watching mosquito control out here by my house again. It looked like they were mowing the lawn. It was pretty cool. It was like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I keep this up all the time now, the plane tracker. I love it. I couldn't get rid of it. So it's up all the time now. I put it on a small screen. And I'm running my FT8 on one of our experimental computers right now, number 5, and that's running that also. So that is an older computer, but it's doing good right now. And then that's a Linux machine. That's the one that we redid. What was it, last show? Or was it 2 shows?
No, the one before that, I think.
Yeah, 2 shows ago, we converted that to Linux. It's right there. And you know what we're doing with that one? This weekend, we are hooking that up to the Polar Orbit weather satellite receiving software. And that's actually going to produce images as the Polar Orbit satellites go over. Then, once we get it producing that image, the next trick is we're going to try to publish that to the website. So we'll actually have our own data that we're publishing. And it's not as much because you need it, because you can obviously get it anywhere. It's more of, hey, look at this cool project you can do in the shack, and maybe interest people into doing it. So that's kind of more of the project on that. But we're going to be working on that up there. And then I got another one over here. I think we're going to put an SSTV node. I thought it'd be really cool if we hook this thing up to where I tell you every week we have a different frequency. All right. This week we're on 40 meters, and I'm going to set my SSTV on a certain frequency. I'm going to use a dongle with an up converter or whatever. I haven't figured out exactly how yet. I'm going to hook it up, set it up, and let it go for a whole week. And you guys can try to send images to it. And when you send your image to it, it'll show up on the website. So you can actually go see the last 10 images on the website that we received from the SSTV reflector that we have here at the shack. And it'll give you a chance to test your equipment and make sure it's working. And then we're also going to switch it around. We're going to do weird things with it. Like I'll put it on, I don't know, 2 meter upper sideband. Or maybe 70 centimeter AM or some weird thing, and just set it on there for a week and see if anybody can hit the thing. But we're going to do some weird things with it. And so that's something we're building as well. And we've already got the equipment for that. It's a matter of Joseph and I having enough time and energy to figure it out. I'm trying to think what other projects are going on. And we've got so many people signed up now that we're going to get a bylaws meeting. I already mentioned that. We're going to get that going. And a build day. I want to do a build day coming up. I want to get something scheduled. We're going to do a county park probably. So it'll probably be early November. I want to schedule our first build day where we actually will meet you guys out there under the pavilion at the park. And we'll have all our antenna tuners, our antenna analyzers, and we'll have tools, and we'll have everything we need out there to get things tweaked and fixed and tuned. And we'll have power so we can plug things in. We may even set up a few antennas and try to make a few QSOs. And we're looking forward to that. We're going to start having those on a monthly basis. We're basically a human day where we just get together as humans and we stand around a table where there's radios on the table. There we go. We still got to have human day once a month. We're going to get together as humans, and we may even glove up and shake hands.
Oh gosh.
Oh, I'm so sick of this crap. Anyway, does anybody have anything they want to talk about? Any announcements or anything? There's still a number of people in here.
No, I got yanked out for a phone call, but when y'all were talking about the Raspberry Pi, Dave has also put together PC Pi. It does not have the following that HamPi does, but it's, you got that old computer sitting there in a closet someplace that you haven't thrown out yet. Well, you could resurrect it and put Linux on it and have basically the same features that you have as in a Raspberry Pi, but have it as an old PC.
What you talking about, Willis? Really? You mean
Oh, no.
I can put this right on my Linux up there?
Well, it's got its own copy of Linux.
So it's oh wow.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so it's a
I love learning stuff on my own net.
What is it? What is it based on? Is it
I don't remember.
there used to
I'll
be a
have to go back to my
distribution
website.
like
I have to go back to the Gqrx website and look it up. Hold on a minute.
I hope it's Ubuntu because I like the name.
Ubuntu?
Ubuntu.
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 Probably on like
By Golka.
Kubuntu or Lubuntu.
That would, now, if you were going to build a certain type of Ubuntu, you would call it Coolbuntu. That's cool.
Coolbuntu.
There is a Kubuntu, K-U-B-U-N-T-U.
See, somebody already thinks of all the good stuff.
Well, that is a minimal distribution. You know, you can probably run that on a. You might even be able to run that on a Commodore 64, but I doubt it.
And you'll get one of those little lines on Joseph's chart that he's got. That he showed.
There you go.
One of the little trees.
Yeah.
Well, I found it. It's an older version. It's 1.2, and it's a year old. And it's called HamPi. I don't know if that's for Linux or what it's for. It doesn't actually say.
There was something called hard.
Oh, it's an XE. It's an ISOXC file. So I guess that's a PC, isn't it?
It's a what?
A dot. It's a dot ISO dot X.
Yeah, it's an image file.
Yeah.
Yeah, image file.
ISO. That's what it is.
Here, let me.
So I guess you can't download it directly into your old laptop that's running Linux, but
you would have to.
Oh, there you go. Someone's got the same web page.
Download it and uncompress it, and then you could burn it onto a DVD or put it
Well,
on.
can you download it and run it directly on your Linux machine?
No, it would have to be. I guess it has an installer in it.
Yeah, it's an operating system.
So that ISO right there that my button's on, I would just do the same thing that we did when we installed Linux on one of these Windows machines.
Yeah, just about.
More or less, or you may burn it to a DVD and install from a DVD.
Or it can be burned, probably can be burned to a flash drive.
I'm running out of working DVD players because when they quit working, I just throw them out.
Yeah, but you could probably, an ISO file, you can also use, well, I maybe Belina Etcher, but I knew there's a way to put one of those on to a flash drive and then you can boot it up.
I was going to say that Belina Etcher should put this right on to a USB drive that will just, and then you just boot it off that drive and install it.
Off that drive, yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, wow, I got stuff to do tomorrow.
Download it to the drive, yeah.
Well, see, I tried to briefly talk about this last week, but I couldn't get a word in edgewise.
Yeah, that's because we're rude.
Turn up the mic gain.
Just blast us. Just blast it.
Well, Dallas, you have my permission to tell me to shut up if you have to and get in here.
That's like I have to do to get on the local FM net sometime. when I can't get in and I'll be running 5 watts, I'll go ahead and crank it up to 50 and then just, I hate to do that, but I wind up walking on somebody to get in.
What you do from now on, if you want to say something, go breaker 19.
And then you hear that noise of a gun being loaded. Yeah.
Yep. Poor good buddy.
I know they start steaming when Joseph and I go CB talk on the 775. I go breaker 775.
I heard the CB song on the radio today. It was a nice throwback to hear all that.
Yeah. I have warm fuzzies about the CB, but there's a lot of ham guys out there that just hate that. They hate it. They hate the people on it. They even hate that piece of bandwidth.
They hate the frequency.
They hate any power that was ever used to transmit it. They hate everything about everything. They hate the fact that God created it.
Well, see, I understand that when it was taken away from the ham radio band and formed it, all of those hams that were hams back then, I could understand them hating it because
Right.
that was ripped away from them and it became garbage.
Yeah.
However, it is the stepping stone for a lot of current day hams started from the CB. So it's a good drug. It gets them started.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's kind of like free cocaine.
Yeah, and you know what else? I hate to say it, but you know what else CB was? CB radio was for people like me that couldn't pass the CW test.
Yeah, it's at 10:30 at night, and Mom went to bed.
You know,
Now you can do FM on CB.
We got drops of good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
I'm coming now. Hang on.
Yeah.
I wonder how. I wonder. That's got to get better. That's got to be better range, better performance than AM, obviously.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
AMs will outperform FM.
Really?
But sideband, you know, there was a lot of. I did the single sideband stuff, and you know, I keep looking through eBay to see if I can't buy an old sideband radio like the one I had, because I surely missed it.
I'm coming now.
I had a radio that it had the 40 channels in it, and then it just had another knob that said normal, and then it went lower upper, and it would just bring you into lower sideband or upper sideband. I guess is what it did. And
Okay, guys, I'm going to say good night. I'll catch you all next week. Thanks
Alrighty.
very much.
Bye.
we'll see you next week. Have a good night.
And you, thanks.
Yeah, I can honestly say it's not my plan tonight is not to do one of these 2 o'clock in the morning deals like last week.
No.
Last week, y'all didn't keep going that long, did you? I thought we got out at about 10:30 last week.
Yeah, 2 a.m. We only went to 2 a.m. like one time. We didn't actually. We've never been to 2 a.m. I think we got
What
to
was
like
it?
1.
It was one of the last 2 weeks we went to 1 something.
We
The
got
12:32. That was my first intro to this thing. We did 12:32.
Yeah. It was a couple. It was either last week or the week before. It was 1 something too. It gets old sometimes to go too late. But anyway, I only because I'm tired. I love doing this. I really do. And of course, I'm not ending it now. I mean, we still got plenty of time now. But I love doing this. It's just it just comes at the very end of a long broadcast day.
I can show.
I still have not ever figured out what everything but Stromboli means. I mean, that's
I
what
still
it
don't
says.
get that.
It sounds like an Italian dish.
I can't get it to focus, but that says everything but Stromboli. And that is the card that came with my micro SD card. It came with this adapter that I can plug it in and stick it into the computer. And they made a big deal about it comes with everything but Stromboli software in it or whatever. I don't know.
Stromboli sounds like something you'd eat with, you know, spaghetti or ravioli or something
I think
like that.
it's the brand name of the little card reader. See, it's got the little logo.
Okay.
I think it's just the brand name of the card reader is what it is.
Okay.
It's just.
I was looking for Stromboli and meatballs.
Well, I was hoping it would have at least some red sauce,
Yeah.
but whatever.
I want to show real quick before we end the YouTube, and maybe I'll make a separate video for this. But you can run WSJTX in dark mode on Linux too. Here, let me do this.
Yeah.
Show the thing here. Okay. So in your little terminal thingy, you do CD for change directory, and then you go to user. Oops, I typed that wrong. User, share, applications, and then you type sudo nano, which is nano is like the text editor, and then you just do wsjtx.desktop, and then you come down here, and where it says exec, right here, this little exec line, you make us say sh -c, and then you do quotation marks, and you minus style sheet, and then I had the rest of it. Stupid Zoom. I need to turn this off. Whenever you go to screen share, it gets rid of everything.
I know. I hate that.
You can't see the chat. You can't see the normal window. It's just gone. Oh, come on. This is ridiculous. Wait a second. Ah, there we go. You paste this in there. You do -- style sheet, Q dark style. Do like this. Style. It's just the same thing you do on Windows. It's like the exact same thing, but you have to edit the actual shortcut to make it say sh-c, and then quotation marks, and then close with quotation marks, and Control S to save, Control X to close that.
QSS or CSS?
It is QSS.
QSS. Okay.
I put it in the Zoom chat if you want to copy it from
Make sure
there.
that's not a typo.
And then what you do is you open up your WSJTX. And if I did it right, it was working earlier. Here we go. Dark mode.
Sweet.
It works. Actually, you know what I can do? This is my Alabama receiver right now I'm tuned into. If I go to 7 megs here and I go to upper sideband, can you gain down a little bit? Oh, we're down at 7 megahertz. We need to go to the where is it? 7074 or 74, right? That's FT8. Yep. Might be off. Oh, here we go.
074.
Okay, and then we go to Pulse Audio volume control. Get that open. Actually, we don't even need that. Just go to file, we go to settings. The audio needs to be set to the loop back. Or actually it should be I think it would be this one. Output stereo monitor. I think that's what we need to select. There we go. See on the waterfall, it's starting to come in. So that's coming in over the internet into WSJTX. All windows, get the actual thing out here and make sure this is on. That should be working. Oh, there it goes. See all of it filling in, and then we can open up our grid tracker. I've got it all dialed in now. It all works wonderfully. Better than it did on Windows. The WSJTX actually decodes properly on Linux. Oh, wow. Look at that. I've already picked up somebody near here. But there we go. So the receiver is actually like right here. But we're down
Somewhere
here.
near Birmingham.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, it's closer to Madison.
Okay. That's right near Huntsville.
Yeah, Huntsville. And there we go. So that's my little setup. That's what I was doing to the last part of the net here. I had this tuned in on the receiver. I had this go. Man, that's a lot of activity. Look at all that. It's people stepping on each other too.
Man.
A lot of overlapping transmissions going on. Well, yeah, I don't know. Just wanted to share that. Thought that was cool.
I'm trying to call you.
Oh yeah, I need to put in a alert over here. Oh, I got you. I'm not gonna be able to answer, but I got you. That's pretty cool. Picked you up immediately this time. 35 seconds ago.
That's pretty good. I'm at 95 watts.
Your signal was -6. I think that's really good. So 40 meters is doing pretty well right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. 40's really good right now.
Yeah, 20 was humming this afternoon.
It's at 15 was really long today again. I am finding
I should have tried to.
I'm finding 15 to be really cool.
Well, that's a great band.
Late morning and right into the afternoon. It there's some points there where it'll open up. It's really good.
Not much activity on that anymore on 20 meter. But yeah, that worked. Yeah, I actually picked you up like instantly. Very nice. We actually had quite a good crowd in this time. I think it was about 25 was the most.
Yeah.
Was it more?
With the amount of reach that we had, it wasn't nearly what I expected, but that's okay. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Just
We'll
gotta
get there.
keep trying. Don't give up.
Well, you gotta, the thing I have to keep telling myself is that amateur radio limits you to a very small percentage of the population to begin with. Right off the bat, you're limiting yourself to point something percent of the population.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So right off the bat, you're losing 99% of the people out there right off the bat. And then you figure you're going to lose half again more of the ones that are left because they're just not into it right now. I found this hobby, amateur radio, for some strange reason, I find that amateur radio seems to be slap full of people that just aren't doing anything right now. It's like, yeah, I'm just not doing anything right now. So, yeah,
You know what
just
the
not
term
doing
for
anything.
that is?
Well, what's that?
All right, so you've heard of a paper repeater, where you have a repeater that's in a call roster someplace, tells you the
Right.
input and output and all that junk, and it doesn't.
And it's
It
never
doesn't
on
work.
the air, yeah.
Well, you got that ham down the street that's got a really good, real short call, maybe his initials, but
Yep.
you never see him in a meeting. You never hear him on the radio. He doesn't have a radio in his car, no antennas at his house. He's a paper ham.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a lot of those out there. I got to tell you, it sure seems to me like there's a lot of them out there. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
There are a lot who just kind of get their call and then they never do anything after that.
The 6 or 7 hams closest to me here, when I go on QRZ, they've never even gone in and put in an email address.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I have a ham in my neighborhood and he doesn't have any info.
you don't have to put a bio in, I guess, but at least go in and put your email address in there so people can find you. I mean, that's.
I mean, I don't even know about QRZ.
Right. That's a scary thought.
Well, that's because you know what they do. What they do is when they license people, what they end up doing is they license them and they go, "Welcome to ham radio. There's the door."
Yep.
All right.
And we got to get out of the EOC because we got to leave and we got to sweep the floor and put the chairs back. And that's literally how testing goes. And the guys do a great job. It's not a slant on them, but it's just I think that, and one thing I wanted to do with the other club back before I realized they don't really do much, is actually sit down with these people once they take their test and they pass. Say, here, you passed. Now let me show you. Here's a quick reference guide. Here's everything you need to know in ham radio. Here's all the local repeaters. Here's this. Here's a bow thing for $30. Here, it's already programmed. Here's here's everything you need to do. Here's my phone number. Here's my email address. Here's your club. This is your club. We're going to give you a free membership at the end of the year. They don't do that. They don't do any of that. People get their license. They just walk out. And there's never any attempt to get them to stay in the club or join the club. Or the only thing they do, and this blows my mind, is they send you an NTS message welcoming you to ham radio. So they're basically sending someone that doesn't know how to receive a message. And then when they call you on the radio and you don't know how to accept the message, now you're embarrassed. This happened to me. And I didn't know what to do, so I didn't answer the radio. Now, I'm a former law enforcement officer. I'm not used to having my address and my personal information and my phone number just broadcast all over the world. And I'm currently on a radio station as talent. People look me up all the time. People wait outside when I get off work and throw stuff at us. Not really, not very often. But the point is I don't like my information to be public, okay? And my first introduction to amateur radio was them giving out my name, my address, and my phone number over the open channel. And I about had a heart attack that day because I had no idea what they were doing. I'd been a ham radio operator for 3 weeks and they're calling me on the radio. I don't know what to say. Oh my God. So then when I let it go by, they called some guy and said, hey, pass this message on to this new ham. And they gave him all my personal information over the open channel. And so I got all freaked out and I sent them 3 emails. They never returned them. And then, so I didn't know what to do. So it said, when the ham gives you the message, explain to him how the NTS system works. So I'm like, oh, cool. Well, this guy's going to call and give me the message. And then I can ask him how the ham radio system works. I get the NTS form mailed to me about 3 weeks after that. It arrives in the mail. Now I'm really confused because I'm like, why would they send it from one guy locally to another guy locally to another guy locally just to stick it in the mail and mail it to me? So then I'm like, okay, so I called the guy that mailed it to me. I'm like, hi, my name's Ian. I'm a new ham. You sent me this letter. Please explain. I heard on the radio that you'll explain to me what I need to do. He says, yeah, I'm busy right now. I'll give you a call back. And he hung up and never called me back. So that was my first experience with the whole using the radio and talking on the radio.
Not good.
And so that was not very inviting at all. I put all this in that recent survey that they put out because I actually like all the NTS guys. I think they do a good job. And I think it's important for all of us to know how to handle traffic. I've been here a year and nobody's taught me. So
Well, it is way outdated. I will give you that. And it was outdated 30 years ago when I got my license.
Right. Well, it's important that we can handle and pass accurate traffic. Although I will also admit now that with WinLink and things like that, it's becoming less and less necessary. Although I do believe it's always necessary to have the skill because
Everything else does.
after an EMP pulse or something, or after some kind of disaster, you don't know what's going to be working and what isn't. And the chances are you're going to have a radio, but you may not necessarily have a computer hooked up to it working with all the right software and everything else. And they've got one working on the other end. It's hooked up and working with all the right software and everything else. It just seems to me like the worse crap gets, the more voice is going to be back in play. And so I do think I wanted to learn NTS, but they don't have, none of our groups down here have any training. And when you ask them for training, you know what they tell you? Just get on the radio and we'll tell you what you're doing wrong. And I'm like, you know, I don't subscribe to the public embarrassment training theory. I won't. And so I listen to them on there in the morning and they're like, oh yeah, you said that wrong. You're supposed to say number group and then say 3 and then say 5 and then say letter group alpha 1 and then say number group again. And I'm like, oh my God, I will never get that
and
right.
Phone figures.
Phone
Yes,
figures, and I don't know what other kind of figures there are.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
I understand the whole thing for phone figures, but you know that's that way you don't have to keep telling, you know, number group, and then you got
Right.
how do you do a dash?
Right.
That's not a number. So
Right.
you phone figures, and you give 3 and 3 and 4 because we're in America and all phones are done that way. No,
Yeah.
because as soon as you do one of these things where you're giving a message to somebody in a foreign country, you find out that phone figures, boy, that's messed up because they don't do phone numbers like we do.
No, they don't. It's amazing just to look around at all the different numbers for 911 around the world. Some, you know, an idiot like me just assumes, well, don't everybody just dial 911? No, they don't.
Yeah,
It's weird.
And they don't have the other ones. Like, you know, in Austin, we had, I think it was 811 for non-life threatening emergencies,
Yeah.
you know? But there's up here in Georgia, we got 511, and that's kind of cool. Of course, you know, everybody's got 411 for calling, you know, get the information, get a phone number. But yeah.
Wow. I think there's a 311 for something down here.
Yeah, there's one
That's usually the one for dig.
for digging. Yeah.
Yeah,
dig.
that's what the one
Dig.
is. I see. Yeah. And but we don't. Our government down here, we're not a big municipality down here, so we don't see a lot of that. But it's weird down here. We are just literally about 50 little cities and towns, and about half our population down here lives in unincorporated areas.
Yeah.
It's a little strange, and I like it
when
that way.
When I talk to Steve, he makes it sound like a good third of the folks are snowbirds. They come down in the summer and they leave.
Probably about a third, not quite, almost a third. Yeah. Yeah, it gets so bad that we change our driving times, whether it's summer or winter. I mean, I actually, if a store is 15 minutes away, if it's wintertime, it's 20 minutes away.
Mhm.
It's literally, I mean, because you just know it's going to be worse. There is a lot more people down here in the winter, and yeah, it sucks too, because that's the time of year we all want to get out and go do stuff. Because we sit inside the whole summer.
Well, in some aspects, that's good because they own that property. They pay taxes on it, and that gives you your police, your fire, your EMS, and they're not there a third of the time or 2/3 of the time to use all that.
Yeah, they're actually paying more than their fair share, I'll admit. And you know, as much as we give them a hard time, you know, snowbirds this and Yankees that. Truth is, we love them guys. They come down here. It is what it is. We need them. We need their retirement money that they've spent their whole life earning up there, and then bring it down here. Yeah, no, I see it for exactly what it is. We provide them a wonderful place to retire, and they provide us with all that money. I think it's a great relationship we have. And now that and I'm not going to get political here, but now that the climate's changing even more with a lot of things, and with lockdowns and with stringent rules in some states, Florida, the numbers are actually picking up now on people moving here. The numbers are picking up, and Texas as well are seeing an influx of people. California is moving to Texas right now. And the Northeast is moving to Florida right now. It's happening.
The problem with Texas is they need to pass a law to where someone coming from California or some other state, they can't vote for like 12 years.
You know what though, and I'm gonna say all this without getting into the politics of it, but I will tell you this because we're basically at the end of our thing here. I need to shut the YouTube off, and I'll trim this off. But we used to think that an influx of people coming here from a blue state would equal our votership going slightly more to the blue. And so we're always like, wow, is that good? That's not good. So what we used to think that. What polling in the last 5 years has showed us, as much as you can trust it, and you can when you do baseline polling like this, what it's shown is that there's enough of these people that are changing their ideology as they move, so that it equals itself out. And that's why Florida continues with all these people here from deep blue states like New York and New Jersey and Michigan, Illinois. You got these deep blue states, and the people move here, but you're not seeing as many of them move here and remain deep blue, because they're moving here because they like the way it's being run by the right. So it's a little hypocritical to move from a blue state to a red state and then go back to voting the way you used to vote up there. The reason people are moving here is because they like the way it works here. They like the economy. They like the freedom, the democracy, the way it works. If they
Yeah.
wanted to go to a state where the government is stifling, I mean, if you want stifling government, you could just move over to Cape Coral and get it right there.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, so you can still get any of that stifling government that you want. But the truth is when people, I think enough people are moving here because they're moving here because they want to change their ideology, or they're moving here because they were on the right all along, and now they're moving down here to continue being on the right because that's the way people are down here.
We may get some out of California yet after the most recent election.
I actually was told the other day of a family down the street that moved here from California, and I was like, I can't wait to meet them because I want to ask them, why did you move here? I want to ask them, you know, and I know what they're going to tell me. They're going to tell me that it's absolutely insane out there right now.
Yeah, I call it the California Soviet Socialist Republic.
There you go. That's what I call my wife's state. I call it the Socialist Republic of Maryland.
Yeah.
And she used to hate that, and now she's like, you know, I used to hate that, but now I call it that. Anyway, fun stuff.
We're still on YouTube and we haven't been censored yet.
Well, the night's still young. I need to go ahead and end that. I'll go trim this off the end anyway, just because I don't like anything like this on there. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end this.